one thing about me and the difference, I would say the difference between me and the difference between Spence is I'm really my own boss now, and he's not. He got to go through Al. He got to go through, his team and ask them if he can do certain things that I don't have to no more. Yeah, I might have had to when I was with Top Rank because I was signed to Top Rank and they was my promotional company. So of course I had to go to Top Rank and ask them to get me this fight or do this for me or do that for me because I was obligated to do certain things by their standard because I was signed to them. But now that I'm a free agent and I'm free to do whatever I want, I'm the one sitting at the table. I'm the one that's talking directly to these high individuals. Errol Spence not talking to Terrence Crawford about the fight. Errol Spence wasn't at the table. Errol Spence can't tell you or show you a contract that says Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence.
What? Did y'all hear that? Did you all hear the words of Terrence Bud Crawford? That's my way of saying good evening. Oh, yes, we're going to talk about it tonight live and in living color on another unknown episode of Roll the Tape Podcast with Manager Marty. Salute to everybody in the chat. I welcome you. I welcome each and every one of you that's here joining me tonight. You know that every time I see a content creator's name in my chat, if I rock with them, I'm definitely going to acknowledge them. So without further ado, I see my guys at AM Sports Media Podcast in the chat. Salute to Greg and Jason. Appreciate your support. I wanted to start the segment off with those words because that's exactly where we're going tonight. We got some great business of boxing to talk about tonight. We have some good boxing to talk about tonight. And in particular, the upcoming fight between Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Bud Crawford for the undisputed welterweight championship of the world. And I have some bones to pick with certain people. But before I do all of that, I want to welcome each and every one of you for joining me right here live and in living color. I appreciate and welcome you. I welcome all of you that are watching the replay of this live. If you are not here live, but you are watching the replay of it, I definitely welcome you. If you are a troll, a spy, a detractor, or if you were sent over here to watch me, take notes, to try to denigrate the things that I am saying, to use some of the words that I have said in the past, and even some words I'm going to say tonight against me. If you are a hater, it don't matter what your reason is of being here live with me. I want to tell you right now, from the bottom of my heart, I welcome you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your viewership. I want to start this podcast off the right way because I do have somebody who have contributed to the channel, and I want to make sure I acknowledge him because moving forward through the duration of this evening, I'm sure there's going to be more people that are going to be gracious enough to contribute and donate to this channel so that I can enhance the audio and visual quality of the content that I publish and produce for each and every last one of you, and also for the time that it takes me to be able to do what I do. So I appreciate all of you in advance for your support, starting with my guy Toon. Thank you so much for your contribution and your support. Toon says, I got Spence. Late stoppage, cash ready for FanDuel. Yes, we are going to talk about that this evening. And as you know, each and every week that I do podcasts here, Tuesday nights and Friday nights, you know I'm going to pin the link in the chat so that we can discuss the question on the floor tonight, and that is, who wins? Who wins between Spence and Crawford? But before we do that, y'all know, as the numbers, as the viewership numbers I'm talking about, is increasing exponentially, y'all know we have to do our what? Town Watch check-in. But before we do that, someone else, more people have contributed and donated to the channel. And I know there's more of you that will do it throughout the duration of this segment tonight. Y'all hear it in my voice, right? Let me put some more bass in my voice. Because sometimes when I get real excited, my voice get high. But I'm going to put some, this is how I sound when I first wake up in the morning, y'all. Yo, we gonna have some good business of boxing to talk about tonight. I got some bones to pick with specific people tonight, and I'm definitely going to do that. But before we get into our Town Watch check-in, let me acknowledge Ohio Style Lyrics. Thank you for your contribution to the channel and your support. Ohio Style Lyrics 513. And he says, appreciate the knowledge and wisdom of boxing. Thank you so much, Ohio Style Lyrics 513. I really appreciate your viewership and your support. My guy, who was one of the guys that was on my channel from day one. One of my day one supporters is here. He just contributed to the channel, and that's my guy, Carl Brown. Salute to you, Carl Brown. Carl says, remember I said Arrow beat Crawford more easier than people think. Real talk. Salute to Manager Marty and the real ones in the chat. Speaking of a real one in the chat, Carl, we do have a real one in the chat. And I've already acknowledged AM Sports Media, who's here with us tonight in the chat. So I got to acknowledge another real one in the chat. My guy, Dub Right Side. Salute to you, Dub Right Side. Hey, Dub, let me say this to Dub real quick. Dub, I like when you do this, Dub. You be like, brother. Like when somebody cut you off, Dub Right Side, you be like, brother. Hold on. Let me finish, brother. I let you talk. Brother. I just love how you say brother, man. It just makes me laugh, man. And you say it with such authority. And that's what I love about it. So salute to you, my guy, Dub Right Side. Let's do our town watch check-in. Salute to you, Omega Red. He's my guy too. Let's get right into it, because I'm hyped now. I am so hyped. Hey, Greg, we got this. We got the support. We got to support Gregory Quarterbaum, because he's one of the realest Terrence Bud Crawford fans that I've ever encountered. I'm gonna keep it all the way 100. He came on a panel last week, Tuesday, I think. He came on a panel. I believe it was Tuesday. If it wasn't Tuesday, it definitely was last Friday, but I think it was Tuesday evening. But he came on the panel. Greg, thank you for your support and your contribution to the channel. He's probably one of the realest Crawford fans that was more realistic. He had no problem with admitting some of the things that he agreed with me and some other panelists, where Terrence Bud Crawford dropped the ball. And he also provided his own perspective. So I want to say to Greg, thank you for your support and your contribution. And Greg says these words. He says, I told you, fix the money and the fight happens. That was from my guy, Greg. Salute to you, Greg. Appreciate it. The money's fixed. And Greg, the fight is happening. Allegedly. Yep. And I said allegedly because some of y'all know why. Let's get this Town Watch check-in. Listen, we got to get this Town Watch check-in popping now, because I'm ready to go straight in. Because this is the Roll the Tape podcast. So I got the Roll the Tape. We got a fair amount of people in here tonight. I see the numbers. Oh man, the numbers look good tonight, y'all. The numbers look good. Don't let YouTube fool y'all. It might say 103 on your end, but I'm telling y'all, don't let the numbers fool you. We're going to have a good show tonight. Oh, I see it. I feel it in the atmosphere. Listen, I feel the electricity and the atmosphere. We're going to have a good show tonight. Let's just get right into the town-wise check. Man, I got a lot of boxing to talk about tonight. A lot of business to talk about tonight. Salute to all the ladies that's in the chat. Salute to all the women that's watching me. I want to say thank you all. You ladies support the business of boxing. You support the sport of boxing. And you even support not just Manager Marty's channel, but other channels here on the YouTube boxing community. So I want to salute to all the ladies because we know that, when you have women around, sometimes magic happens. You know what I mean? When good women are around. And some of you fellas know exactly what I'm talking about when I say magic. What I'm referring to is that sometimes as men, we could be a little bit lackadaisical, but when women are involved, things happen. You know what I mean? And so I know things happen on this channel when we have women that's interacting and engaging in the chat, and they're so respectful and they're so gracious. And that's why I want to always acknowledge the women, and we always have to be respectful to them, especially how we communicate as men. All right? Now we got all that out the way. The Manager Marty that you all came here to see tonight is here in the flesh, live and living color. If you just joined in, because I see the numbers growing and climbing up the ladder and increasing exponentially. So if you just joined in, I want to tell you something right now. You don't have to dust your feet off when you come in my house. You don't have to even ring the doorbell, because you know why? The doorbell don't even work at my house. The doorknob is already unlocked for you to just come on in, have a seat, and come kick it with me. But I do want you to press the like button if you feel necessary. There ain't no obligation here, because I know you're going to learn something about the business and the sport of boxing tonight, because we're going to put some entertainment value to it. You know what I mean? So if you can, please hit the like button. It's at your discretion. It's not mandatory, but I do appreciate it if you do, because the knowledge and the wisdom and the entertainment value reverberates all across the world. We have people all across the world that is gracious and supportive enough to watch and view not just my channel, but I'm sure other content creators' channels. All right, so this is not just an American thing. We support the business and the sport of boxing, and we represent it for everyone in the world. Let's do our Town Watch check-in. Y'all know how it is. If you're just joining us live and living color here on another unknown episode of Roll the Tape Podcast with Manager Marty, we're about to dive right into our Town Watch check-in. If you don't know what that is, I'm going to give a brief synopsis on what that is. Our Town Watch check-in is very, very simple. Any one of you in the chat can participate. Any one of you viewing, if you want to participate in the chat, feel free to do so. And if you are watching the replay of this live, you can also participate in the comment section below. And how it works is very simple. You could actually identify in the chat or the comment section where you are from, meaning where you were born and raised, or where you are located now, any city, any state, any island, and any country. And guess what's going to happen? I am going to publicly acknowledge where you are and where you're from and what area you want to represent. And I'm going to tell you why I do this. I'm going to tell you why I do the Town Watch check-ins. And it has been successful, and most people enjoy it. The reason why is because it lets all of us know. It's more like an icebreaker, but also a reminder, a friendly reminder, right? That we all are from different parts of life, different walks of life, different parts of the world, right? But we all share one thing in common, and that is that we all love the sport of boxing, right? So even if we don't agree on everything, even if it might get a little bit tensed on our panels, we still can come together. No matter what our background is, no matter what our race or ethnic group is that we represent, no matter what religion, we don't talk about none of that. We talk boxing here, and guess what? We come together as one, all because of the sport of boxing. And with that being said, I'm going to start it off first, and y'all know how we do. Y'all know, DFW area, I'm representing one of the biggest states in this country, the great state of Texas, by way of Arlington, Mansfield Section 2 be exact, by way of my hometown. the great city of Philadelphia. Y'all call it Philly, we call it Philly, but I'm just saying Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, for people that might get confused, because there is a Philadelphia, Mississippi. But we ain't talking about the state of Mississippi. We talking about PA. I'm representing Philly. I got my guy Dub in here, representing Warner Robins, Georgia, in the building. Who else we got in here? Woo! All the way from Alaska. We got Alaska in the building. Y'all already know I just said Philly, but somebody else in the chat from my city. D-Bar, what up? Philly in the building. Man, look, it don't stop there on the East Coast. We gonna travel a little bit Midwest. We got Detroit in the building. Come on in, check on in, check on in. Dallas, Texas is in the building. Brick City, Newark, New Jersey in the building. Who else we got in here? Woo-wee! We got the heavy hitters in here. Port City, 910 in the building. Who else we got? Cleveland, Ohio, relocating to Houston, Texas next week. I see you in the chat. Detroit in the building. Dallas, Texas is with us tonight. Clinton, Maryland. Oh my goodness. I told y'all everybody's in here. All walks of life, even on the Caribbean islands. The Bahamas is here, checking in tonight. Who else we got in here? Y'all don't feel that breeze? Y'all don't feel that breeze? Y'all feel it. Y'all ain't feel it a few seconds ago, but you feel it now. You know why? Because somebody representing the Windy City is here. All the way from Chicago in the building. Look, we can't just stop at the East Coast and Midwest. We got to travel on the West Coast. Palm Springs, California in the building. Detroit, Michigan back in the building. Who else we got in here? Baltimore, Maryland is in the building. Home of the face of boxing is here. Who else we got? Los Angeles is in the house. Hey, where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? BK in the building. Brooklyn, New York is here. DC, what's up? Washington, D.C. in the building. Woo, we got Iowa in the building. I see you, Shiny D. Who else we got in here? You know we got to travel down south, right? You know we got to travel down south, right? You know we got to travel down south, right? Raleigh, North Carolina is in the building. Woo! I know it's chilly over there in Denver, Colorado. They in the building tonight. Chesapeake, Virginia is here. Portsmouth in Virginia is here. Woo! Arkansas, raised in Omaha, Nebraska, is here. Windy City back in the building. Man, look, we got Chester, dog. Chester is in the house. Detroit, all day in the house. We got Wilmington, Delaware. I was just in Wilmington last weekend. Anyway, Wilmington, Delaware in the building. Elizabeth, New Jersey is in the building. Who else we got in here? Come on and check on in. Turtle Island is in the building. Come on, check on in, y'all. We're going to have a good show tonight. But I can't start my show without your participation. So come on in the chat. Let's talk about it. Brooklyn in the house. Where we at? Baltimore, Maryland in the house. Come on, let's get. I'm just scrolling down. You know what they say? BX or B Next is in the building. The Bronx in the building. Pino, California. Woo! Got somebody representing the desert all the way out there in Phoenix, Arizona is in the chat, in the building tonight. Seattle, 206 in the building tonight. Man, we got to travel down south. Want to know why? Because Tampa, Florida is in the building tonight. Man, we got people from Midwest, East Coast, West Coast, down south, in the Bahamas, in Alaska. We got people all over the world checking in with Manager Marty. Oh, Dallas is in the building. We got the Bronx. I said it before, but they back in here, creeping in here. Oh, I want to tell y'all something. I think this is important too. Did y'all know that Dallas, Texas, you wouldn't believe this, Dallas, Texas is #1 on the list for analytics. In my analytics here, in my back office here on YouTube, analytics, people from Dallas, Texas is #1 as far as my audience. Isn't that amazing? Dallas, Texas is in the house. Who else we got in here? Pittsburgh, PA, home of the Steelers, is in the house. South Carolina in the building. Who else we got in here? Hold up, let me see. Gary, Indiana is here. Y'all know who from Gary, Indiana, right? One of my favorite artists of all time. Yeah, I'm talking about Michael Jackson. Who else we got in here? Oh, y'all know Baltimore in the building. Y'all already know. Y'all don't play with be more like that. Hold on for a minute. Hold on for a minute. Somebody just donated to the channel. So I got to be able to salute them and support them. Hold on one second. But before I do, we got San Diego, California in the building. Just want to let you know that. Jay Cooley, thank you for your contribution and your support to the channel. This is what Jay Cooley says. All you Bud fans gonna respect Arrow after this one-sided ASS whooping, and I'm in Omaha. Holla at me. Y'all heard what Jay Cooley said. His words, not mine. Thank you for your contribution and your support, Jay Cooley. Carl Brown again, thank you for your support, my brother. Carl says, one more time for my city, the city that Shakur Stevenson represents, Newark, New Jersey, a.k.a. Brick City in the building. You already know, Carl. You already know. Salute, my brother. Detroit is in the building. Who else we got in here? Who else we got? That was it? That was it for now? That was it? No problem. Now we got the audience in here now, right? I'm going to set the foundation of some of the things we're going to discuss tonight. Okay? So if you can bear with me, I know we're going to talk about who wins this fight between Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Bud Crawford. And I'm going to tell you something right now. We have a live audience right now, and everybody and their mama is here tonight. And I'm going to make sure I give y'all some entertainment, okay? I'm going to make sure I give you all some education, because that's what we do here on the Roll the Tape podcast. So before I do that, I want to set the foundation for a few things that we're going to discuss before we talk about who we think is going to win this epic fight between Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. I am going to drop the link in the chat and then pin it to the top because we need answers. I know I need answers because I have a few questions that I want to ask. Okay? Shakur, thank you so much for just subscribing to the channel. I want to say thank you for your support and your viewership. I hope that I can do the best that I can humbly so that you can enjoy this broadcast and all the other content that's on my channel and then moving forward, all right? Detroit is still in the building. Now, I want to set the tone, y'all. I want to set the tone correctly because I need answers about a few things. And I'm sure you all in the chat can help me. I'm sure you you all who are viewing can help me. And I'm even more convinced now that Terrence Bud Crawford fans, and the only reason I'm dubbing you as Terrence Bud Crawford fans is because most of you have called yourselves Terrence Bud Crawford fans. The Terrence Bud Crawford fans, you know exactly who you are. I have some questions that I want to ask you. But before I do, I want to set the tone right. So I'm going to roll the tape. I'm going to roll the tape on a few things tonight. So I need you all to stay with me because this is something that we're going to address because even though this fight is making most of us very, very excited, we can't be passive aggressive. You understand? I've learned, right, many, many years ago, I've learned the difference between being passive aggressive and just being assertive. And when you're passive aggressive, one of the telltale signs of being passive aggressive is there are symptoms that show you when you're acting or someone else is acting passively aggressive. And, or maybe I should reword that, passive aggressively. Either way, y'all know what I'm talking about. Now, ignoring, silent treatment, sweeping things under the rug, stepping over major topics, don't want to address the elephant in the room, etc., etc., etc. So many of you that are subscribers and longtime viewers and supporters of this channel, whom I call the Roll the Tape Film Crew, know I am not passive aggressive. And so I'm not going to sit here and act like, because we're all excited that this fight is happening, that there's a few things that should not be addressed. Because there's a few things that need to be addressed. particularly that pertains to me. And that's exactly why I'm going to address it tonight. But before I do, because I want to set this thing up properly, I got to give a shout out to my guy. He's been on the platform, he's been on the panel, he supported this channel. DC Jeroy, all the way from DC. Thank you for your contribution and your support, DC Jeroy. DC Jeroy says, "What's good, Brother Marty?" DC Jeroy says, "It's time to get it. It's finally here, and Spence is going to show why he is the big fish." That was from my guy, DC Jeroy. Thank you so much for your contribution and your support to the channel, DC Jeroy. Now, I have to address a few elephants in the room, and I think it's very equally as important. We have a lot of people here tonight. We have a lot of people watching live. And I want to say, if you just joining this live, we just got finished completing our Town Watch check-in. But I want to tell you right now, I welcome each and every last one of you. It don't matter why you came over here. You're viewing the channel, and you're going to learn something, and you're going to laugh today. And you know I try to make y'all happy. You know I try to make y'all laugh and entertain you. You're going to get Manager Marty in full throttle tonight. Oh, yes, you are. And I'm going to pin the link in the chat because I want to build a good live panel tonight, because the question on the floor is who wins. But before we talk about who wins, I want to play something, and then I'm going to move forward with the premise that I have tonight. And I'm going to play it now. And I've played it at the beginning of this broadcast, but because the audience have been enlarged by the numbers and by the time, you may have missed it. So I'm going to replay it. I'm going to air fry on it, and then we're going to dive right into some of the things that I want to discuss regarding what I am going to play and some of the other things that I want to say. But before I do that, someone else has contributed to the channel. Thank you for your support and your contribution. My guy, Mr. Sean Clark. And he says these words: "Just want to salute you and shout out all the Fight family in the chat. I'm too subbed up in these YouTube streets. Ain't been pulling up enough." Sean, I want to tell you, every time you pop up, it is an encouragement and a blessing. You've been a day one supporter of this channel, and I want to say thank you, and I salute you, brother, and support. And I thank you for your contribution one more time, Sean. Appreciate you so much, brother. All right, now, you all may have heard this on, I believe, November the 1st or 2nd of 2022. I published a video, one of many videos, of Terrence Buck Crawford talking about he's his own boss. So I want to play that because we want to talk. There's some elephants in the room, and I'm going to address it tonight. So if you can, bear with me 1 second. I'm going to replay what I played in the beginning of this broadcast for the new audience that's just joining in, and we're going to address some elephants in the room.
One thing about me and the difference, I would say the difference between me and the difference between Spence is I'm really my own boss now, and he's not. He got to go through Al. He got to go through, his team and ask them if he can do certain things that I don't have to no more. Yeah, I might have had to when I was with Top Rank because I was signed to Top Rank and they was my promotional company. So of course I had to go to Top Rank and ask them to get me this fight or do this for me or do that for me because I was obligated to do certain things by their standard because I was signed to them. But now that I'm a free agent and I'm free to do whatever I want, I'm the one sitting at the table. I'm the one that's talking directly to these high individuals. Errol Spence not talking to, Terrence Crawford about the fight. You know what I mean? Errol Spence wasn't at the table. Errol Spence can't tell you or show you a contract that, says Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence.
Did y'all hear that? Someone in the chat, please. I want to make sure the audio is clear on your end. Did you all hear that? Can someone in the chat at least acknowledge that you've heard it, that audio that I just replayed or rolled the tape on? Can someone tell me whether or not you heard it on your end? Somebody, please. All right, one person says yes, another person says clear, another person says, oh my God, SOG for life. Salute, SOG. Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you in the chat. Loud and clear. Most people are saying they heard it loud and clear. Awesome. All right, great. All right, good. I just wanted to make sure that we all heard that. Okay? All right. That's what I want to hear. I want to make sure we heard that loud and clear. All right. Good, good. If you look on your screen, right, some of you may not recall this. Most of you may. There's a screenshot on your screen right now. Do you all remember this? Does this look familiar to some of you in the chat right now? Does this look familiar to many of you viewing, even if you're not in the chat? Does this image look familiar to you? I'm just talking to people in the chat right now. Let's engage tonight. Let's engage tonight. Does this image on your screen look familiar to you? Anybody? Let me reframe it. Does anyone recall this interview that I did on August the 3rd of 2022 with YSM Sports Media? Does anyone recall this? You may not have recalled it because you may not have watched it or you may not have known anything about it. I'm going to play an excerpt from it, not at the moment, but I just wanted to make sure that everyone can see what's on your screen and be familiarized with what you see. This is the first interview that I did with YSM Sports Media when most people did not know who I was when it came down to me being a boxing manager. This was the first interview that I've done on someone's YouTube channel. I've done other interviews, but it was like podcasting, no video, just audio. But this is one of those first video interviews that I've done through my guy, YSM Sports Media. Salute to YSM Sports Media. And in this interview, there were a few things that I said. When YSM asked me about this fight back in August the 3rd of 2022. Okay? I'm going to play a little excerpt because I want y'all to hear something specific that I said. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to tie everything together so you all know where I'm going with this. All right? So hang tight. Let me get a piece of that audio. I want y'all to, this is the Roll the Tape podcast, right? So y'all know what I do. If you're new to the channel, this is what I do. I roll the tape, okay? So I wanted to roll the tape back on a little, it's one piece in there that I just want to point out. I want to tie it all together. You all will understand why I'm setting the premise up for this, all right? Hang tight. Let me get that. While I'm getting that revved up for you all, I want to ask a question about something. You don't have to answer it now because I'm going to ask this question in a little bit because I want to engage the chat, but I just want y'all to be prepared so when I ask the question, everybody will be on point, all right? So the question is, who wins? Don't answer it in the chat just yet. I want to make sure that I'm setting a foundation first, and then later on, we're going to discuss who wins in our educated boxing opinions, okay? Let me rev this piece up that I want to find. So stay right there. Hang tight. Don't leave. Stay right there, y'all. I'm telling you, you'll understand why all of this is going to make sense in a few seconds. Don't leave. Stay right there. I'll be right back. Let me rev this audio up, all right? Y'all still with me? Are you all still with me? Yes, yes, yes. Don't move. Stay right there. Don't move. I want to play this small piece of this segment. Okay? Stay right there. This is the segment of an interview that I did on August the 3rd with YSM Sports Media. There's a specific reason why I'm tying all of this together. But I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. So stay right there. Let me play it. I found it. Give me 1 second. Then Bud. These are facts, okay? So what I would say to Bud, if I was managing him, if they offer us at least 10 million and at least maybe 70, 30, 60, 40 on pay-per-view, we going to take that. You know why? Because we know we can beat Spence. But if there's some kind of doubt, or if you want to use it as a retirement check, now I see where the impasse is really coming in. Did y'all hear that? Did you all hear that? Someone's asking about moderation. I think I have enough moderators. Is any other moderators in the chat? I don't know why we need a lot of moderators tonight. It looks like the chat is pretty much going well in my estimation. Not exactly sure because I'm trying to focus on just making sure that I'm reading the chat, engaging with you all, and focusing on rolling the tape. So here's the thing. Let's stay focused, everybody. Let's stay with this now. You've heard 2 pieces of audio, right? You've heard the audio where Terrence Bud Crawford says he is his own boss. You've heard that piece of audio where Terrence Bud Crawford was basically criticizing Errol Spence for having Al Haymon as his representation. By him saying basically, hey, I'm my own boss. I sit down and talk to the big wigs myself. Whereas though in comparison with Errol Spence, he needs to talk to a representative. He has to have someone there to talk for him. He needs somebody there to represent him when I'm representing myself, and that's what makes me my own boss. Y'all just heard the audio that I replayed and rolled the tape on when Bud Crawford said that on November the 1st, 2022, on his IG Live. And then I turned around and played what I said on August the 3rd, that if I was managing Bud Crawford, how I would handle it, right? Now, let me tie it all the way in. We're going to still do some more cooking now. We're going to do some more air frying, but I want to make sure I set the right premise. Okay? I just want to make sure I set the premise. Let's stay focused in the chat. I see people veering off in the chat. Let's stay focused. All right? All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Now, y'all have heard those two pieces of audio. Does this look familiar to many of you on your screen? Let's stay focused now. We're going to have a great show this evening. Let's stay focused. Does this look familiar on your screen? Let's get back to this, ladies and gentlemen, members of the jury, members of the Roll the Tape film crew. Let's get back now. I see the chat is veering off, talking about the fight. We're going to deal with that in a minute. Does this look familiar to many of you? Okay, some people said yes, some people said no. All right. On your screen is a screenshot of an interview, the second interview I did on YSM Sports Media. This is literally about, I want to say, approximately 3 weeks after I did the video, the interview on August the 3rd. This is from August the 30th, 2022. All right. And in this interview, as you can see in the title, under the word description, that's basically what I said. Those were my words then, and those are still my words today. Crawford and Bomac can't out-negotiate Steven Espinosa and Al Haymon. Some of y'all remember this interview that I did on YSM Sports Media? I'm going somewhere with all of this, so stay with me now. Come on, chat. Let's engage now. Let's engage. Do any of you remember hearing this interview that I did on August 30th on YSM Sports Media when I said Crawford and Bomac cannot out-negotiate Steven Espinosa and Al Haymon? Do any of you remember that? Come on, somebody in the chat, talk to me now. Somebody engage with me now. We got a lot of people watching live in living color right now. We want to make sure that we all on the same page this evening. So somebody said no, they don't recall hearing or seeing this video. So someone in the chat that did see this video, can you at least tell me if you recall? I think Valerie, salute to you, Valerie. I think Valerie said yes. My man Byron, salute to you, Byron, says yes. Keontae, salute to you, says I remember. This is a clip that I said that Crawford and Bomac can't out-negotiate Steven Espinosa. Now, we know that that's true. Why am I bringing all of this up? You might ask Manager Marty, what does this have to do with the fight? Manager Marty, what does this have to do with not being passive aggressive and addressing the elephant in the room? Manager Marty, we don't care about any of that because the fight's finally happening. Let me pull out my notes. So you all agree that Crawford and Bomac can't out-negotiate Steven Espinosa and Al Haymon, right? Okay. Right. Y'all remember that, right? Okay, cool. Y'all know that's facts, right? Cool. Y'all also heard Bud Crawford say that he represents himself. He represents himself. He talked to the big wigs on behalf of his own self, his own career. Errol Spence got to answer to Al Haymon. Errol Spence wasn't even in the room. When it's time to negotiate, Errol Spence don't know anything about contracts. Errol Spence have to get permission from Al. Y'all heard the audio I just played, right? Y'all remember that, right? Okay, tying those two things together. Okay. Y'all remember me saying on August 3rd, I just played the replay of my audio, small little clip, where I talked about how I would handle managing Bud Crawford if I was his manager. Y'all heard all of that, right? Okay. I need answers. I need answers. I need answers. Salute to my guy, day one of the channel. Thank you for your contribution. Matthew Thomas, my guy, says, yo, Mr. Manager Marty, Team Thomas checking in. Let's talk about boxing. Absolutely, Matt. You know it. Thank you for your support and your contribution to the channel. Absolutely. Now, y'all have heard all of those things, right? Now let's tie it all in together. There's a report that's been surfacing. Can somebody help me in the chat? How many fights did they say Terrence Bud Crawford signed this PBC deal with? Come on, let's engage in the chat tonight. How many? Anyone know? What's being reported right now? How many fights? Come on, chat. Let's talk about it. If you're watching the replay of this live, you can also comment in the comment section below and engage with us. I will give you feedback, and I love feedback. I see 4 people said, 6 people said 2, 7 people said 2. Anybody else? Come on. Let's get those numbers in. Let's get those numbers in. How many fights did Crawford sign with PBC to get this deal done? Somebody said 1.5. My guy. Come on. Let me see them numbers. It's a lot of people watching right now. And I know there's a lot of you all engaging in the chat. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Let me see them numbers. There's a reason why I'm doing this, y'all. Come on in. Come on in. Let me see some more of them numbers. Help me understand this. Please, somebody help me. Somebody remind me, please. How many? I see 2. Somebody said I thought it was 3. Somebody said 2 fight deal. 2. I keep seeing 2. Anybody else? Speak up, y'all. We're going to talk tonight. Oh, yes. We're going to deal with it tonight. We got some. I need answers. So I'm trying to make sure I get all the facts down pat before I ask some questions. Come on. Let me see. So somebody said 2 fight deal, possible trilogy. Okay, I think I heard that too. 2 fights. Okay, 2. Okay, somebody else said 2 fights. Somebody said 2 fights. Okay, I keep seeing like anybody else. Come on, y'all. Let's engage. Let's engage. I keep seeing the number 2 though. That number 2, I keep seeing that number 2. I want to make sure that's the right number though. I keep seeing it. I just want to make sure that's the right number. I want to make sure that we all are on the same page. Let me see. Somebody said rematch. Okay, yeah, rematch. They said, I think it's 2 with a rematch. All right, so that's 2 fights. All right. Anybody else? Anybody else? Trying to get something together here. Anybody else? How many fights that let me see what else somebody said. I'll say one thing though. Okay. Two fights. Yeah, okay. Somebody saying two. So a lot of y'all keep saying two. Somebody says zero because Bud don't want the smoke. No, I'm talking about what I'm talking about is what we've been hearing. Okay. The how many fights did he sign to get this fight? He signed a multi-fight deal with PBC. I'm trying to figure out how many. How many fights was it? I see a lot of people saying, okay, so 30 days to rematch. All right, I see that. Okay. I'm scrolling down. I see a lot of people saying two, though. Is that accurate? The number two, is that accurate? Can somebody just tell me in the chat? All right, somebody said 2-fight deal. So that was accurate. So it was two fights, two fight deal. Okay. Okay, let me see something here. I want to see if let me go back and see here. All right, so somebody said yes. All right. Let's see. Nolan Rice. Nolan Rice says something. Can y'all see that? What Nolan Rice said on y'all screen? Can y'all see what Nolan Rice said? Anybody can see that? It's on the screen right there. Nolan Rice put it up there. Yeah, did y'all see that? I'm trying to find something because I want y'all to make sure we on the same page and whatnot. Let me see what Nolan Rice said. Marty said if he was Crawford, he would start a promotional company and negotiate the 2-fight deal and negotiate a fighter from his promotional company in the deal too. Nolan, you gonna make me send you a gift, brother. That's exactly what I said. And I can tell you exactly what video you got that information from. So thank you for watching the video, Nolan. I did say that. I said that in the video. It's all on my channel now. The 6 things that I would do if I was managing Bud Crawford. It's on my video. It's on my it's in my what's that called? History or whatever. What is this called? The video on my channel. Y'all know what I'm trying to say, right? Right. So I'm trying to show y'all something, but I wanna play something for you all as soon as I find it. Okay, it's called the 6 ways Crawford could get the Spence fight. And then I was talking about how, I would manage Bud Crawford, to get the fight. Right? Right? Okay. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna get it. It's something that I want to show. It's something important that I want y'all to hear, though. That's why I'm asking how many was it 2 fights? It was 2 fights, right? Right? Y'all said it was two fights? That's what I keep seeing. All right, 2 fights, 2 fights. So it was a 2-fight kind of deal with PBC, right? All right, hold on. Let me a rematch with Spence. But before I go to that part, let's look at the history of PBC and how they deal with rematches. Remember, we're going back 5 years to prove their credibility and their consistency. So from 2017, David Benavidez, he fought Gavril twice, right or wrong, on PBC. Andy Ruiz, another PBC fighter, he fought Joshua twice. Am I right or wrong? Deontay Wilder fought Ortiz twice. Am I right or wrong? Jamel Charlo fought Harrison twice. Am I right or wrong? Deontay Wilder fought Fury 3 times. At least twice. Rematches. Am I right or wrong? Jamel Charlo recently fought Castano
His last fight was the second rematch. Am I right or wrong? So it's in PBC's nature, right, to draw up contracts that refer to rematches when they know two top-level competitors are going to compete. Did y'all hear that? Y'all know that was my voice, right? Y'all know that, right? Let me tell y'all exactly when. I was trying to get the screenshot so I can show it on the screen. But I believe that y'all would take my word for it. That is what I said on December the 1st, 2022. The title of the video is called Crawford Admits He Turned Down $40 million to Fight Spence. Okay? Let me show it to y'all so y'all can see. Hold on. Y'all see that? That's when I said that. It's in PBC's nature when they know that two top-level competitors in that division are going to fight to sign multi-fight deals. And a minimum of it is 2. Now let me tie it all in. This is how I'm going to tie it in. Let me put my glasses on because I want to get my notes. Excuse me, I got my notes. There were things that were said about me on YouTube for the past 7 months that I've been on here. When I was talking about Terrence Crawford. Let me read my notes. These are my notes, y'all. This is some of the stuff that was said. See my notes? Okay. Eminem Stan. Y'all know who the author of those words were, right? Waterboy. This is what some people were saying in my comments section on the videos that I did on YSM Sports Media. When I was on for Non-Boxing channel. When I was on my own channel live, people were saying this on the published content that I did on Crawford. This is some of the stuff people were saying about me. Eminem Stan. Waterboy. I'm a fake manager. Manager at Walmart. I never worked at Walmart. Okay. I'm a clown. Delusional. I'm hating on Crawford. Most of my content is about Crawford. I built my channel off of Crawford. I'm corny. Manager Marty, you are a weirdo. You don't know anything about the business of boxing. You came out of nowhere hating on Crawford. You are a PBC fanboy. Your podcast is nothing but a PBC podcast. I hate to use this word, y'all, because I'm trying to be respectful, but I have to repeat what they was calling me. You're nothing but another aerosexual. I apologize, ladies in the chat and ladies viewing, but that's what they say about me. Self-hate. You got self-hate as a black man hating on another black man in Crawford. You know, I'm gonna stop right there because this is all these notes I got. I'm gonna stop right there. Y'all get the point. Let me put my glasses back on so I can see what y'all talking about. Now let me ask you a question. You've heard Bob Crawford say he's his own boss. He don't need representation. He can talk to the big wigs on his own. Errol Spence Jr. was criticized by Crawford for having good representation.
Also, you've heard what I said when I replayed a clip of an interview I did on YSM Sports Media on August the 3rd. And told you all what I would do if I was managing Crawford. I did another interview, YSM Sports Media, August the 30th, where I said that Bomac and Crawford cannot out-negotiate Steven Espinosa or Al Haymon. And last but not least, you've heard me say on December the 1st, 2022, on my channel, where the title says, Crawford admits he turned down $40 million to fight Spence. This is the video I was playing for y'all. Okay? Y'all see that? Okay. Now, I have a question and I need answers. I'm a weirdo, water boy, Eminem stan. What do they say? Let me get the notes back out. Let me get the notes back out. I'm staying. Fake manager at Walmart. I'm a clown. I'm delusional. I'm hating on Crawford. I built my channel on Crawford. Isn't it amazing that Crawford did everything manager Marty told him to do? What am I talking about? Well, he went and got him representation, didn't he? He was hating on Spence, right? Y'all heard me play the audio in the beginning of this, right? Okay, then. He was hating on Errol Spence because Errol Spence had representation. And he said himself, I talk to the big wigs and I represent myself to get the deal done. I don't need representation. I got this. I don't have to answer to nobody because I'm a free agent. I'm my own boss. Y'all heard that's what Crawford said in November of 2022. Question in the chat, because I need answers. Did Crawford have representation when he secured this deal to fight Spence right now? Yes or no? Somebody in the chat tell me right now. Particularly a Bud Crawford fan. But you don't have to be a Bud Crawford fan. I just need answers. Did Bud Crawford have representation that negotiated with Al Haymon on his behalf to secure this fight with Spence right now? Yes or no? Thank you, Valerie. Said yes. Windy City Assassin, salute. Says yes. Creole the Traveler, salute to you. Thank you. Said yes. Oh, okay. So he got representation from CAA, entertainment lawyer Ish Henson. Y'all know who he is, right? Oh, okay. Okay. So manager Marty, I built my channel not on Crawford. I built my channel saying the same thing I tell y'all every podcast. Good representation in this business is what? Let's see if we have any supporters here. Good representation in this business is what? What's the word to start with a P that I always say? I just said it Tuesday again. When I'm talking about boxers having good representation. Good representation in this business is what? I always say it. Priceless. Good representation in this business is priceless. And for the last 7 months, I've been saying it, and I've been being criticized for it. And long and behold, Terrence Bud Crawford, thank y'all in the chat for saying priceless. I see y'all. I see that y'all support me. Thank you so much. Terrence Bud Crawford ran and got him priceless representation. And guess what? They got the deal done. Oh, okay. But I'm the weirdo. I built my channel off of Crawford. I'm a Crawford hater. If you think about it, I'm one of the few content creators that actually helped Crawford with the knowledge that I gave him. I mean, you think about it. All this time he's been saying he's his own boss. He don't need no representation. He'll represent himself. Y'all heard him say that in November. 6 months ago he said that. He went and got him representation, didn't he? Oh, okay then. I thought that's what I've been saying since I've been on YouTube. The whole time, that's all I've been saying. Giving y'all education from the business perspective. Told y'all how I became a manager in this business. Told y'all what was my motivation for being a manager. Because I saw so many boxers lacking good representation and they were being exploited. What else did Bud Crawford do? He did two things that manager Marty said he should do to get the fight. Oh, remember on December 1st? Let me play it again. No, I ain't gonna play it again. Y'all heard it. I ain't gonna do that. Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it. Remember I told y'all what was in PBC's nature on December the 1st, 2022? How many fights did I say from 2017 to 2022 when that video was published, which was 5 years? How many fights did PBC sign fighters to fight in their big fights over at PBC? How many? Somebody in the chat. I just said it on a audio I just wrote the tape on. Somebody, if you remember. Okay, I see Creole the Traveler. Yes, you're correct. Kyle Brown, you are correct. Somebody else tell me in the chat. How many fights did I tell you all that PBC have a history to? Come on now. Some more. I need more. I need answers. I need answers. That's why I'm asking this question. Okay, I see 2. That's correct. Okay, so if I said that on December the 1st, 2022, that's PBC's MO and how they're able to be successful with securing 2 fights for the fighters in their stable to fight each other. Let me go back to my initial question about a deal that Crawford signed with PBC to fight Spence. How many fights in this new deal that Crawford signed against Spence? How many? I asked y'all earlier. I want to see if y'all tie both in now. How many? This fight here that Crawford signed over at PBC with Al Haymon and PBC. I just asked y'all a few minutes ago. How many fights? Okay, Clean Cut, thank you. Cornelius Burnett, thank you. Barton South D-Town, thank you. King Swisher, Shakur, thank you. Who else we got to hit? Come on, I need answers. I need engagement now. Yeah. Because see, they called me a weirdo. Remember they said that? I'm the manager at Walmart. I don't know nothing about the business of boxing. You even had people's dad going on somebody else's platform saying I'm a fake manager. You even had another content creator call me a water boy in the stand. I had to endure all of that. And there's people in the comment section and even in the chat in my live podcasts that be throwing shots at me. Right? Right. Oh, okay then. So basically, Crawford did the 2 things that I think that he should do to secure the biggest fight in his career. Number 1, go get good representation because you can't out-negotiate Al Haymon, nor can your manager Bomac. And he did that. Crawford did that. He got representation over there in LA with Ish Henson. And the second thing that I told Bud to do, and I'll find the audio if y'all don't believe me, is that when you sign with PBC, you got to do the same thing that Pacquiao did and sign a multi-fight deal. I told Crawford that in the interview I did with YSM Sports Media. So Crawford did those 2 things. He went and got representation, and he signed a minimum of a 2-fight deal with PBC. So I would have to say, salute to Terrence Crawford. Salute to Terrence Crawford. I'm not saying that Terrence Crawford watched my videos and he heard me and he just did it. Don't misinterpret that because I know somebody's going to misinterpret that. What I'm saying is I've been saying this for the last 7 months. I've been on YouTube. But yet I've been met with resistance from people insulting me. And the whole time 6 months after Bud Crawford said he was his own boss and he don't need representation, he finally got representation and the fight materialized. Isn't that something? Now, let me tell you all something that I've learned over 15 years ago when I was in my early 20s. Now, I've learned it in a marital environment, but I still learned it and I apply it even in my life today. Y'all know I always drop principles on my show. It's not right to fight for the right to be right. Let me say it again for the people in the back. It's not right to fight for the right to be right. Now, I put my own little poetic spin on it because y'all know I'm a poetic guy. I rap and all that stuff. That's not how it was told to me or showed to me. But based on me learning and overcoming an experience, I put that together so I can memorize it that way. So I'm saying all of that to say this. I am not bringing all of this up to prove that I was right. I'm not fighting for the right to be right. I already knew I was right when I did my first interview with YSM. I already knew I was right when I did my first video on YouTube. And I knew I was right when I did my first live on YouTube. That's not the point. The point I'm making is this. If you don't know something and you have someone teaching you something, it takes humility. Humble yourself and learn from a person that knows something. Very simple. I would be very surprised if somebody that knows Terrence Crawford haven't seen at least one of my videos about him. I would be totally surprised because it's so many videos about Crawford on my channel. That's what people say. But it's interesting to me. Those very people that said that, I want to hear your reactions now. All the people that called me all those insulting names, which of course doesn't bother me at all. I actually was laughing at it when I was reading in some of the comments and all those things. I had to go back certain videos to see some of the things I was actually laughing at it. It's no big deal. My point is that when Crawford did something that was detrimental to his boxing career, I critiqued him on it publicly. And so if he did the opposite, which it seems like he did now, I got to go and salute Crawford. Because this is what I've been saying all this time. And when he did the two things that I said he should do, which is number one, got to go get you some good representation. And number two, you got to sign a multi-fight deal with PBC. And according to all of what we've been hearing by all parties involved, he did those two things. So now the onus is on all those people that said all of those disparaging things about Manager Marty. They don't have to come out publicly and apologize to me because I don't care. I'm just saying, though, it helped other people that don't know this business jump on a bandwagon to start hating and spying on my channel and lying on me. And y'all know people been lying on me on YouTube. Y'all already know, we ain't going to rehash it. And insulting me in the chat on my live podcast, coming on the panel, saying certain things to me that was like off. Y'all know, y'all been around. Most of you know what I'm talking about. And the whole time, Terrence Bud Crawford did what he was supposed to do. Speaking of that, Gregory Quarterbomb, thank you for your contribution and your support to the channel. Greg says, you overlooked he had representation last year. 2 different attorneys back then. So your narrative is off. So he did it better this time. Let's be honest now. Thank you for your support and your contribution to the channel again, Greg. Hey, Greg, let me say this. Salute to Rachel Donaire. I see you in the chat, Rach. When you watch the replay of this live, Rachel, you'll get a kick out of this. So let me address that. I want to address that because, you know, Gregory said something and I want to address it because he was addressing that to me. Before I do that, Greg, hold on. Let me get Matthew Thomas here. Matt, thank you for your support and contribution again to the channel. One of my day one guys. Thanks, Matt. Matt says, this has been a great year to show folks the errors of their opinions. Stand by and keep scores as they get taught. Salute, Matt. Thank you very, very much. Now, let me do this. I'm going to address you in 1 second, Greg. Stay right there. Don't move. I want to address that. Let me do something first, though. I want to address. We ain't going to go all deep into it. Let me do this, though. Let me make sure that we all, same page here. Y'all know how I do, right? Yeah, y'all know what time it is. Y'all know exactly what time it is. Let me do that right there. Yeah, y'all know what that was. I just flew a kite right there. Yeah, I just flew a kite. That's the link right there. That's the link in the chat. I just flew that kite out. Let me address this real quick. Real quick. Bud Crawford did have representation last year. That's what you say, Greg, right? Okay. Did they get the deal secured? No, they didn't get the deal secured. Okay. Remember, my slogan is good representation in this business is priceless. Just because you have an attorney does not mean that you have good representation. That's what I'm basically saying. And I'm not saying Ish Henson is not an entertainment lawyer. I already know who he is. I'm not talking about that. You're talking about Bud Crawford's representation last year. They didn't get the deal done. While we're speaking on them, they were not successful in their attempts, is where I'm going with that. They didn't get the deal done. So even if you say he had representation, that does not mean anything if Bud Crawford himself said on IG Live on November the 1st, 2022, that he's his own boss and that he directly speaks to the bigwigs, right? That's what he said, Greg. He said, I speak to the bigwigs. I speak directly to the bigwigs. I don't need no representation. Spence got Al Haymon. He got to answer to him, blah, 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 blah. So even if you say that Crawford had representation last year, two facts still remain. They didn't close the deal out, so they were unsuccessful in their attempts. And number two, Bud himself said with his own words that he talked to the big wigs himself. In other words, he don't need no representation because he's his own boss. That was his words and not mine. So my narrative is not off. And he didn't have Ish Henson last year to negotiate with Haymon. In fact, I can tie it all the way in. Don't forget that Creed 3, that movie was filmed where at? LA, Los Angeles, right? Okay. The talent agency that Ish is an agent for is in LA. Why you think Crawford was there and he's tootled over there to De La Hoya's offices at Golden Boy Promotions in LA? Wasn't Crawford in the Creed 3 movie? Okay, tie it all together here. My point is, my thing is, don't be so quick to criticize the manager. Don't be so quick to try to point out something that I said wrong because you're trying to defend Crawford. You can't defend what a man say out of his own mouth. So that's why I played all of that first before I said everything that I said now. You understand what I'm saying? That's all I wanted to get at. My guy, what's your point? Thank you for joining the panel, brother. How are you today?
How you been, man? It's been a while. I hit your cash app, man.
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think I'm. Hold on.
You sound very okay. Yeah, you probably got to go back out and come back in. So my thing is, y'all keep trying to discredit me, which is perfectly fine with me. I'm used to it. I don't have a problem with it. But what I'm saying is when you know I'm right, though. When you know I'm right. Not you, Greg, anybody. You too, but anybody. When you know I'm right, just acknowledge it. All right, you was right. Cool, it's over. If I'm, like I said, I'm acknowledging Crawford did the right thing, right? I'm saluting Terrence Crawford. He did the right thing. Cool. But what I'm saying is don't still come back after I prove that I was right. Don't come back trying to find something that I'm off with. Come on. Because remember, Gregory Quarterbaum, you said, and I can roll the tape on you, when you was up here on the panel, you said Al Haymon never wanted to fight in the first place. You said Al Haymon don't even want this fight. He don't even want Spence to really fight Crawford. That what you said, Greg? That's what you said. We've heard people time and time again on YouTube. Oh, PBC don't got no money in the budget. PBC been broke. Then we heard Showtime, they don't have no money in the budget for 2023. Oh man, you know they talked about Paramount owns this and CBS owns that, and Showtime don't got no more money in the budget. But then we sat there and watched PBC and Showtime put on Tank versus Hector Garcia pay-per-view with Boots Ennis on the undercard, Rashidi Ellis on the undercard. Then we turned around and watched them have David Benavidez fight Caleb Plant on pay-per-view. Then a month later, we sat there and watched them promote Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis on pay-per-view. And now, according to what we're hearing, we're going to see Terrence Crawford fighting Errol Spence in July. But you hear all these people saying all these things, and all I'm saying is some of y'all were wrong. That's all I'm saying. Gregory Quarterbaum, thank you again for your support and your contribution to the channel. Greg came back, I guess this is your rebuttal, says, but your narrative is off. You imply he did not have representation until spoke on it. I don't know if you're saying until I spoke on it. I'm not sure what you're saying. Reps until spoke on it. I did say Haymon did not want this fight for 2022. I stand by it. Okay, that's cool. But I can roll the tape back on Spence talking about having a fight in 2021. I can roll the tape right now on an interview that Errol Spence did in 2021 with Brian Custer. And Brian Custer asked Spence, when is this fight going to happen? And he said, this fight's going to happen sometime in 2021. And then the next month, he had, which was in June, he had Crawford on his podcast. And he asked Crawford the same thing. He said, I talked to Spence last month, and he said that y'all going to fight 2021. He told me his next 3 fights is going to be with Danny Garcia, Manny Pacquiao, and then you. And he said, what's your next 3 fights going to be, Crawford? And Crawford said, oh, I don't even know what the future holds. I don't know what my next 3 fights. I'm not sure. That was 2 years ago, bro. So my point is, it was already in Al Haymon's and PBC's plans. I already told you about how they do 2 and 3 fight deals, right? Okay. It was already in their plans for Spence to fight Danny Garcia, Manny Pacquiao, and then Crawford. That's a fact. That's not an opinion. Most of us already know that. So what I'm saying is there is no false narrative here. There is none. There's no false narrative. I'm just trying to get this off my screen, y'all. There is no false narrative here. My guy from Maryville, Indiana, one of my day one supporters, thank you for your contribution and your support as the viewership is increasing exponentially. Manager Marty, you are on the case like an attorney. And that was from my guy, Mike Harrison. Salute. Thank you again, Mike. Well, you know, people used to always tell me, and some of them still do, that I have lawyer tendencies. That's what they say. Because I never really thought about being like a lawyer, but when I was a kid, I did think about being like a detective and stuff. So, you know, maybe I do have lawyer instincts. And if you look at the content on my channel, you can see that I'm really good at doing homework. And I am you should see me in family court. If you think I'm an attorney on YouTube, y'all should have seen how oh man, y'all should see how I don't have to go through family. Well, I haven't been to family court in a few years, but I'm just saying when I did, woo wee, I roll the tape. You hear me? Thank you again for your contribution, Greg. Greg says, I am not trying to insult you. We differ, that's all. No problem. It's all love. I'm not saying you're trying to insult me, brother. And that's okay that we differ. My perspective on YouTube has always been and still will be to give two things. Just two: entertainment and education. And so it don't matter how it come. It's all good. DC Jeroy, my God, thank you for your contribution and support to the channel. DC Jeroy says, Brother Marty, I'm going to join your panel. Keep cooking, brother, please. There's nothing in the world like proof. No problem. I'm going to drop that link again just in case somebody didn't get an opportunity to see that link in the chat, because we're going to get to the question of the night. I just wanted to get that out real quick. We're going to get to the question of the night because I got all the audience watching live and living color right now on the another unknown episode, another unknown episode of Roll the Tape podcast with Manager Marty. So thank you for everybody that contributed. I think my guy, there you go, sent me a cash app. Thank you. You sent me a cash app. I got you. Thank you so much for your support, brother. How you been?
Good, man. I ain't been on here in a minute. You let me on last time.
Say that again, brother.
Yeah, you had let me on last time and rap for a few, but I ain't gonna be long. But
All right.
Bud didn't even trust his own lawyers for one. And Spence had said on the that leaked phone call. Remember the video? He was it was either Al or no, so one of them. It had to be, because he even said he wasn't fighting them because he had started laughing about something. And he was saying that Terrence Crawford don't even trust his own lawyers. So, but all that's irrelevant. Bud already was in talks with BLK Prime even before he started negotiating with Spence. He was in talks with BLK Prime since after the Porter fight. He had no intention. He already had a plan set to drag it out to this point. I don't even know why they skip over everything. That's all the evidence you need that they ducked. That's just my opinion. But
I appreciate your perspective, brother, and I do agree with you wholeheartedly. I do.
I appreciate it, man, Jamari. Thank you.
Oh man, salute, man. Thanks for joining the panel. Appreciate it, brother. As always. Salute to Jackie. I see you in the chat, sweetheart. Thank you for your viewership as always. Diana, salute to you, sweetheart. Queen. I call the women queen. You know what I mean? Queens with an S on the end. So salute to you also, Diana, member of the channel. Good to see you all. Blessings to you and your family as well. And you know, my thing is, Crawford did drag this thing out. We know that to be true. You know, he definitely dragged it out. But as I told y'all, if you're new to the viewership right now, I've already rolled the tape back. I'm not going to do it again. We're on time constraints, but I already rolled the tape back when I told people on December the 1st. Let me show y'all now. This is real. It's not no hype. What'd that say? Crawford admits he turned down $40 million to fight Spence, right? And that was on December the 1st, 2022. And I was basically proving that PBC has a history. And I basically went all the way back from 2017 all the way 5 years later to 2022, how they have a history of signing fighters to multi-fight deals to fight each other. And I broke down each fight that had a rematch clause attached to it that we all saw. And this is no exception to the rule with Crawford and Spence. So I was right about that. And I also was right about telling Crawford on my channel for the last 7 months, in order to get this fight with Spence, he has to do two things. And number one, have good representation, even though he said he's his own boss, even though he said that he can talk to the big wigs on his own recognizance. He can do it by himself. He don't need representation. Spence is not his own boss because he has Al Haymon that represents him, blasey, blasey, blasey. He went and got representation, good representation apparently, and they got the deal done. The second thing I told Spence to do, Crawford to do, especially in the 6 ways I would, I would manage Crawford. I said this on the published content. Thank you, Nolan, for pointing that out earlier. That I would definitely have him, Crawford, sign a multi-fight deal so that he can secure 2 big paydays in a rematch because he believes that he will beat Spence. And so what I was basically showing the people that was criticizing me and insulting me and disrespecting me in the comments section and other content creators as well. Well, only one really. And well, actually 2. And then other people that got on the panel and even in the chat saying I'm all these different things and I'm fake. I'm not a real manager, blah, 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 all this stuff. But the things that I've been saying to Crawford for 7 months, it materialized. You know what I mean? So I'm not trying to get no accolades off being right. And I said this for all of you new viewers that's just on here. My spiritual principle of the day is that it's not right to fight for the right to be right. Y'all know every podcast I got to drop some kind of principle, right? It's not right to fight for the right to be right. I've learned that principle over 15 years ago. And so what I'm saying is I am applying that principle even now. I'm not trying to fight for the right to be right. But it was right that Crawford did the things that he should have done as a business person to secure the biggest payday of his career, and he's done that. And so now that we got all of that out the way, the question on the floor tonight before we head out of here soon is, who wins? Link is somewhere in the chat, but who wins? We don't have to make this drawn out, but we're here tonight. Let's talk about it. In the chat, in the comment section below, let's talk about it. Who wins? Who's going to win this fight in your opinion? Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence? That's the question on the floor tonight. Who wins this fight? That's what we want to know. Who wins? All right, hold on. Let me see if I can do this. Hold on 1 minute, Reach. I got you. There she goes.
Morning.
Oh.
Hey, why did I hear that you have a time crunch today?
Huh?
You have a time crunch?
A time
Are you?
crunch?
Yeah. Are you leaving early?
No, I'm just saying I don't want to be 5 hours. You know, I don't like to do them little 5 hours, right? Hey, Rach, I've been on here 2 or 3 times on a 5-hour energy drink. Well, I
That's
call it
true.
a 5-hour energy drink. We're not going 5
Yeah,
hours
yeah.
tonight. But good morning to you. It's light behind you, so that means it's morning in the Philippines.
Yeah, 9:30.
9:30, and you're drinking coffee, so I know you're wide awake.
Yeah. I
What's
was
going
gonna
on
text
with
you
you?
when I heard that the fight was signed.
I didn't hear you say it again, Rach.
I said I was gonna text you when I heard the fight was signed. I was like,
Oh,
oh God, finally. We're not gonna
yes,
keep going around in circles about this anymore.
absolutely. So, what's your take on it? As you hear in the news, what's your take on it?
Well, I actually heard, of course, I heard it already going on. Like a couple months ago, there was, everyone was in negotiations. And one of the key ones was that, VADA was had started a new program. And they said within the VADA pool, they're like, hey, new announcement, new testing. And they had slipped it. And they said, they're like, Crawford and Spence are going to be the first fight that we're hoping is going to utilize the $15,000 drug testing. And so I was like, wait, what did you say? Like, they're like, oh, I mean, of course, when it comes to fruition, but that was already within the talks of VADA, within the VADA pool, that VADA was going to be involved for the Spence Crawford. So I knew these were walking points that we're talking down. But of course, like, like there are things I know, but I can't say things because then I would get my butt in trouble for, I wouldn't hear anything anymore. Like I can't be the fly on the wall anymore because they're like, oh, Rachel leaked it, right?
Yeah, of course.
So
Absolutely.
I try to be good.
You see what I do? I keep my poker face on. I act like I don't hear or see nothing.
Yeah, that's why the last time I was on with you, it's so hard too because I'm like, oh, I know they're talking. Now, of course, then I heard, the date was flying around and, Nonito has been told, he's like, well, your fight could land on the July dates. And I'm like, well, which dates? And they're like, well, it could be Crawford, could be someone else that I know I think they're close to a contract for the other date in July. So I can't even freaking say that one either. But, these are the things that behind the scenes, you're like, oh, to get on these panels and know more and yet not say anything is such a.
Absolutely. Hey,
You get me.
Rach, we got a
Yep.
couple of people that want to come on, and one of them is the guy that you said that you liked when you was on the panel the
Greg.
last time. Yeah, Gregory. I'm going to let these guys on.
Yeah.
Let me hold on. Let me see how I get these guys on. First, DC Jeroy. Gotta let DC on. DC, you with me?
Yeah, I'm here with you, brother.
My guy, Blackstick and Bruce. You hear Blackstick and Bruce?
Peace. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, indeed. And then Greg. We got Greg. Greg, are you here with me?
I am.
Awesome. So we have. I don't know how to put your names on the screen yet.
That's
I'm gonna
okay.
reach out. I'm gonna reach out to some other content creators. Hopefully they help me, and I'll be able to put you all names on the screen. So we have Rachel Donier here, Plastic and Bruce, DC Jeroy, Greg Quarterbomb, DC Jeroy.
Yes, sir. What's going on, bro?
Oh man, I'm good, man. Thanks for joining the panel. So what's your take
Absolutely. Thanks for
on?
having me.
Anytime. I know you said that you wanted to come on. So what's your take on everything you've heard thus far?
I mean, I always appreciate your podcast, brother. The only one that I joined, to be honest. And I always appreciate your podcast because you don't come from an opinionated standpoint. You come from a standpoint of where you have some empirical evidence or proof to back up what you're saying. So anytime that's going on, man, I'm always being supportive of that. As far as from what I've been hearing, from folks that's in the chat, I'm expecting, there's to be some back and forth. The one thing that I'll add before, I know you're going to talk about who wins, but one of the things that I learned, at a very young age from my grandfather was sometimes we have to remove the emotional aspect from the discussion in order to make some progress, right? Because sometimes emotions tend to carry us in a direction or area where we don't want to be heading. And so if there's anybody that is approaching the discussion or listening from I guess from the perspective of having their emotions leading their perspective or their thoughts, I'd say maybe just change it around for a second and just look at it strictly from the aspect of, how things make most sense reasonably and logically. So I did want to add that piece, not shooting or, pointing fingers or shots fired at anybody, but I think sometimes we can all get to a better place when we apply that type of practice. So I'll leave it there for a second, bro.
Okay, good. Hey, respectfully so, and you are absolutely right. And I always try to make sure that I insert that into these discussions about not being so emotional. Jackie Hernandez, thank you for your contribution and your support. Just sent a super sticker, I believe. Thank you so much, Jackie. Always a pleasure to have you viewing us and always contributing and supporting the channel. So thanks again, Jack. We got Blaxican Bruce. Blaxican Bruce, I don't know how long you was on the podcast, but so far, what have you gotten or take away from anything that I've said or didn't say so far?
I mean, well, first off, Mark, appreciate you having me on here, man. And, if you guys haven't, like, subscribe, comment, and share, because this right here is a boxing match of history, man, getting ready to be made. And, who better to bring it than, Manager Marty, who knows the business, of boxing himself. But, yeah, from everything you've been saying, all the facts and, roll the clip, roll the tape, whatever it is you be rolling. You've been pretty much, nailing it shut as far as everything that's been said in the past from both parties. But, as Earl Spence wishes to leave everything in the past and let's go ahead and live for the future, and live for the present so we can fight, in the future to come. But I'll be honest, something in the back of my mind is still telling me, man, I'm not gonna believe it till I see it. Until both of them step foot in the ring, it's hard to believe it, man, till I see it, because of what all the stunts Terrence has pulled, But it's like, hey, I'm doing like everybody else, man, keeping the hype, keeping the hope up, man. It is going to take place, and if it does take place, what I see is the first few rounds. I see Earl putting the heat on. I see Crawford trying to counter, and then from probably around 4 to 6 or 7, what I see is that the countering may not have as much an effect on Earl as Terrence is hoping for, and then from there on, that's why I see either a late stoppage by round 10 or a decision in Earl's favor. Because one thing people are forgetting is that Earl can take a punch. That's one thing people are forgetting, is Earl can take a punch. Yeah, he got staggered by Ugas, but don't forget Mean Machine put Terrence Crawford on the ground, even though it wasn't called a knockdown. So that's the way I'm pretty much viewing the fight. But I can see this as possibly I see it more as, like I've said before, I see it more of a Pernell Whitaker with power against a Tommy Hearns. Each in their prime. Well, each at welterweight though, because to put two boxers together is like that's the only reason I don't see it as much of a Tommy Hearns, Ray Leonard, because it was for one thing, it was a boxer versus puncher, but here it's not so much the same thing in my opinion. It's more of it's almost two boxers going at it to me. Even though Earl does fight more like Marvin Hagler, he's not a one-punch knockout artist. He's a wear and tear you down kind of fighter like Hagler was, even though he doesn't switch like Hagler. So that's just my opinion, man. Like the rest, can't do anything but keep their hope up, man. The fight does take place, man.
Yeah, good points. Mr. Greg, you're back. Everybody that was I think Blaxican Bruce was here before, and so was Rachel when you were on here before. And when you left, we basically all agreed that you're a respectful guy. You basically told the truth and was honest about your assessment of Crawford. You acknowledged some of the things that Crawford slipped up on and some improvements that he can make. And we usually don't hear that on YouTube at all. So you're like one of the first people that was real, like, honest, straightforward. And even though you are a fan of Crawford, you still kept it real. And I think we all appreciated that. Even people that was in the comments section and in the chat here, you probably didn't see this, but they were giving you kudos and respect. So it's always a pleasure to have you. And thank you for your contribution and your support to the channel.
Well, thank you for letting me come on again. Hello, Miss Rachel, and hello, the other young men who are on the show as well. I don't even want to go back and forth because we're going to differ on what happened in the past negotiations. But what has happened now is everything's in place for the moment. I agree. There could be something that could still go wrong because I can see that. I want to just speak on how I think the fight will go. I always see Earl as a freight train. He comes forward behind the jab. He and Sean Porter did the exact same thing in their fight. And only because of the late round knockdown did Earl get the split decision win. There was no backing down for either one of them. There was nothing wrong with Sean when he fought Terrence. He simply was fighting someone who was much better, and his father had to save him. Right now, I hear from what Earl has said, he's going to train for the knockout. So what he is acknowledging is he has to do something more that he hasn't shown in all his previous fights. He's fighting somebody who's more accomplished, regardless of what you think of his competition. TC has come up 3 times in his career. So you got to look at what confidence is. Confidence isn't backed by false bravado. It's backed by what it is that you actually has done. So he's always coming into a fight with greater confidence because he's had to keep coming up. Earl is the biggest fight he's had. I'll give it that. But Terrence is also the biggest fight Spence has had. I believe that Spence loses by decision because he's going to find that he's fighting someone who does more in the ring, has shown he does more in the ring. And Spence coming with that freight train, coming forward, throwing that jab, maybe going to the body, which is going to open him up to counters, is where he's going to lose. Terrence doesn't rattle just because he gets hit. Yeah, he got knocked down. That was a knockdown. It should have been called a knockdown, actually. It wasn't. Okay. Spence has been hurt once or twice before, too. The difference is in my opinion, that if Spence makes the same mistake that he made with Ugas, Terrence will finish him. Then it will be a knockout. But I think the fight goes to a unanimous decision. I say somewhere between 13, 15, 112, 116, something like that. But clearly, he's fighting an alpha class fighter who is coming to that four corner circle and has always done his business and has always done it differently. Spence hasn't done it differently. He's always done it the same way. We'll see when the fight comes. I was going to believe the fight was going to come. I said it would be money that got cleared up, which would make that fight happen. So regardless about anything else, now I'm glad that we can talk about how the fight will go and all the other who did what, who negotiated what means nothing. Let's do what fans should do. Talk about how they think their guy is going to do. I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Salute to my guy, Chicken Talk. He's in the chat. Every time I see a content creator who supports the channel or just be in the chat, I always want to publicly acknowledge them. Blaxican Bruce, you had your hand raised right after Mr. Greg was talking.
Yeah.
Go ahead, brother.
Greg, I just want to say this, bro. There are times when fighters are no longer the same. They kind of lose their prime after a certain fight. Like Frazier, to me, Frazier lost his prime after the first Ali fight. That's why Foreman handled him so easy. Meldrick Taylor was no longer the same after the first Chavez fight. Roy Jones Jr. was not the same after the second Tarver fight. There are just fighters that lose their prime after certain fights. So that's why I say Sean Porter was not the same. He'll even tell you he wasn't the same because he mentioned that he did the same thing Marvin Hagler did after Hagler lost his prime after John the Beast McGarvey, because they both took each other out of their prime. And he mentioned retirement. Same way Porter mentioned retirement after he fought Errol Spence. And so did Mikey Garcia. Not Mikey. Was it Mikey? No, yeah, it was Mikey Garcia. He was like, he wasn't the same after the fight against Earl. And even look at Adrian Broner. He fought Spence before he fought Maidana. And he wasn't the same. Look what Maidana did to him. I mean, so it's like after sparring Earl, you're not the same for some reason. just about all the guys he's fought. I mean, look at Danny Garcia. He moved up and away from Errol after that. It was like there's just certain fighters who are not the same after certain fights. And so that's why I feel like Terrence kind of got the leftovers of Sean Porter as far as, but he wasn't the same. And then the other thing was everybody's looking at the one time that Earl Spence got staggered by Ugas. Well, that's why he did the interview with his girlfriend on his show, where he talked about he had to get restructuring of his teeth or something, and when his mouthpiece came out against Danny and it came out against Ugas, he got careless. But he told us why he got careless. So I mean, that was probably just a learning curve for him to make sure he doesn't do that for this particular fight. Everybody keeps depending on bringing up that one incident where he got stunned. I'm like, okay, well, what if he doesn't? What if he doesn't, get careless?
Sean and Spence have the same problem. It's called discipline. Sean is not as disciplined in the ring, and Earl is not as disciplined outside the ring. TC doesn't have those issues either way. It is going to show up in the fight. How much of it will show up, I don't know. But the discipline issue is an issue that every athlete should have inside and outside the ring. Y'all know what Earl's problems are. They will show up, even slightly, in this fight. And I don't know whether there's any physical damage from the two accidents. It may not be. But the lack of discipline is his biggest issue. Sean had the same one. That's why his father jumped in to save him. Now, whether Earl's father or Earl's trainer will have to do the same thing, I don't know. I do know that his hand will not be raised in victory when this fight is over. But those are the two things I'm looking at.
All right, we
Hey,
got
so quick.
okay. Hold on, DC, real quick. I saw Rachel. She came on. She waved her hand. Rachel, you go first, and then DC Jeroy right after Rachel. Give your perspective. It's on you, Rach.
Yeah, no, I always think like whenever, and it's been proven time and time again, whenever a boxer starts to think of retirement, they already have one foot out. And when it gets really difficult within that fight, it just makes it easy for them to stop the fight because they're like, well, shoot, I said I was going to stop after this anyway. It takes a very sliver, just a sliver of hope. And if they don't have it in that second that they're choosing to completely step out into retirement, that's what changes the fight. That's what changes the mentality of that fighter within the ring. He is no longer a fighter. And I think that's a very big thing to say because whenever someone says it's like, oh well, if I lose, I'm retiring. Yeah, I'm more than likely betting against that guy because of that fact. You're already thinking that you already have your out. You already have your insurance plan. You're fine as far as finances. And when you have it, if you already have one foot out, I can't be two feet in the ring with you because I already know that I can't fight your mentality for you. You have to overcome that. So that's one. Number two, I love this fight. I haven't been able, honestly, to see Bud's fight against Abernesian. I don't know if it's going to make a difference, but it sometimes does because you do base fighters from their last fight and at least two fights before what they've done. And the two fighters, people will know this. I'm not going to change my stance on this. Is Bud is he's very agile in the ring. He's a switch hitter. He can get inside the game faster than a lot of these people, and he's quick. That being said, Spence is going to have to not have such of a wide stance that he does for him to be able to be mobile enough for him to counter and to react quick enough if Crawford goes to his backside. So, but does Spence have an inside game? Definitely he does. But an inside game is not going to do anything for you if your opponent is on your backside hitting you with an overhand, right? So those things I still want to look at. I want to relook at Spence's foot placement as well as Crawford's in the last two fights, and then be able to give like an actual okay based on this round and this round. This is how he framed them. He framed them with. His punch selection was on point, and he knew where to put his feet based on the chosen stance of the opponent, XYZ. Then I'll give you a better one. But I'll tell you before the Abernesian fight, when they were first talking about the fight, I had Bud winning. But I can't. I do want to do a better breakdown to give you a definite answer for you guys.
Got you, got you. Hold on, DC Gerard. Let me get these super chats real quick if I can, brother. Shout out to Juice Lee. Thank you for your support and your contribution to the channel. Juice Lee says he got his mouthpiece knocked out against Van Herden, also, and rocked against Emmanuel Larty. He is referring. Juice Lee is referring to Errol Spence. Thank you for
Oh,
your
can I say something
contribution.
about that?
Yes,
That was
please.
the second thing I was gonna say. Why in the world do these boxers have like like Walmart mouthpieces? And the reason I say that is like you guys, like I mean, Nonito has one. When I was fighting, I had one. It's an airtight lock. Like I literally have to finger Nonito's mouth to unlock that airtight. Water doesn't get into the mouthpiece. You can talk with it. It's really custom fit to you, so it doesn't make you gag and you can breathe properly. It's weird to me that you would want to, have to bite down more, and decrease your oxygen intake, and utilizing more of your energy to keep your mouthpiece in place than just having a custom mouthpiece.
Makes a lot of sense. Thank you. And I'm sure that piece of information just educated a lot of people who did not know that about mouthpieces. And most mouthpieces, and you know this, Rachel, most mouthpieces for professional fighters are customized. So I don't even know what the problem is either. Let me get Jay Cooley. Thank you for your support and contribution to the channel, Jay Cooley. Jay Cooley says, you Bud fans are praying that the accident or the drinking play a part, so it should be easy for Bud then, right? This fight will not go the way you Bud fans think. I promise you. That was from Jay Cooley, and I'm almost certain that if he wasn't referring to somebody else in the chat, he was talking to the man that's laughing on your screen, my guy, Gregory Quarterbomb. DC Jeroy, you were next, brother. What's your take on basically this fight, man? Who wins?
Yeah, so I definitely wanted to address. I'm not going to belabor the point. I think the sister Rachel hit it right on the head. The brother who just commented, that was one of the things that I did want to touch on. Greg, you talked about the discipline piece of a Sean Porter and a Spence. Um, I would say that we can't compare the two for a couple of reasons, but more noticeable than any, Spence have come out publicly and said and acknowledged that, in the past, he was being careless and reckless and irresponsible with the way he was creating his lifestyle, and since then has made a change, i.e., moving. He's even physically removed himself, not even in addition to mentally removing himself from some of those issues. And so I don't necessarily know if that's going to be as big of a challenge, him getting over in this fight. That's one. From a mental aspect, I also heard Spence talk about, and something that I can attest to. When you have a life or a near to life or death experience, that does change things and put things into perspective a completely different way than you may have had before. And so having that scare, I think has uh, realigned his priorities and have shown him that, there's some valuable things that maybe we were taking for granted. And so let's change our mental approach towards things. I think that's the mental aspect that gets him over in this fight. Now, when I look at a fight, and why do I think, or who do I think is going to win, Spence? I look at fights basically when I break them down from 3 to 4 different areas. One, the physical aspect between the two fighters, the skill between the two fighters, and then I also look at the IQ between the two fighters. And then depending upon who the fighters are, I always look at that dog, right? So we always hear people talk about who has that dog. When I look at the skill, I'm gonna be honest. I give Terrence a slight edge just because of his ability. I think Bud does a really good job at changing levels and also creating certain angles that create challenges for fighters. So I give him a slight edge there over Earl. Physically, I give Earl the advantage there. And then as far as the IQ standpoint, I give them a deadlock, right? And so when I start to break it down and pull away from there, I look at some of the things that you talked about, right? If Earl has seen a fighter like Bud and vice versa. And what I walk away is Earl has, over his career, has fought fighters that are at least physically more adapted or equipped to what a Bud looks like. Bud has never fought, and maybe with the exception of a Kell Brook, who, like Sean Porter, was already kind of like, on his way, on his downslope, if you would. I don't know if Bud has ever had the opportunity to come across a fighter like Spence has, and then the output. So when I look at the physical aspect, I look at the punch output, I look at the punches that Spence throws. He's not really wasting punches. And him, as you said, as a freight train keep coming forward. I don't know if Bud is prepared. He's never seen some type output like that, and I don't think mentally he's going to be able to handle that type of pressure. We've seen Bud get hit. We see Bud don't necessarily like that. We see when Bud get hit, he wants to retaliate and start to turn it a little more to a dog fight. And I think that's going to play in Spence's favor. And so, unless you talked about being disciplined, if Bud can stay disciplined and fight and not get caught up into his ego and trying to exchange blows with Spence to show that I can be just as much of a dog as you, I think that increases his chances. But I don't have Bud doing that. So that's the reason why I have Spence beating Bud.
A little bit of that may happen where Bud will want to show I can get down with you. That is probably going to happen. But because Bud has been used to seeing different kinds of fighters, even though Spence may be the first type of fighter that he's seen, mentally, he's already prepared to see something different because he's been coming up in weight his entire career. So he's seeing different things. He has to bring new aspects, new dimensions to his game every time he's gone up. So that's where he negates Spence being the bigger, stronger fighter. Bud, to me, is the smarter fighter. And again, staying disciplined, not falling into the passion of showing, hey, I'm a dog just like you, is where the fight will show which way it's going to go. Because once again, both of them have something to prove, whether they want to admit it or not. This is the biggest fight, period. They need to settle it. All the other stuff that's happening is just a backstory. That fight, all of us will be on here or be on other sites talking about how it went after the fight, and we'll say who didn't do what. But it's great, and I'm loving this to talk to people who just not in their feelings, but are speaking with intelligence about how they see the fight and offering their opinions. And everybody can say, well, I don't see it that way, but we can give what we want to give, and everybody's fine. And that's why I like coming on a show where I've been on other sites, but I haven't been on a show but once, where you can still express yourself and ain't nobody being out of pocket and calling names and insulting. So I enjoy it, and I thank y'all again. I know I'm an older guy, but I've been around fighting since I was 17, and I'm 67 now. So I still love the fight game.
Yeah, hey, quick, Brother Craig, one quick question. Who to you has Terrence defeated? Who has chin, boxing skill, heart, and is in their prime at welterweight? Who's a true champion?
I really couldn't think of anyone, to be quite honest. Off the bat, I can't think of anyone. And see, my thing about an opponent, you beat who's in front of you, regardless of who they are. If you fighting someone who's not in their prime, that's too bad. You got to fight them. You fighting somebody who's brand new, you got to fight them. You fighting somebody who's supposed to be bigger than you, you got to step up and fight them. So however the fight goes, it depends on who you are as a fighter and what kind of mentality and preparation you bring into the ring. And when he goes to the ring with Spence, he's fighting a bigger guy who's a dog, who got the same desire to do what needs to be done because y'all both in the same space, and you can't have two kings in one castle.
I totally agree. There's
feel
a
you.
guy on the there's a guy on the left side of my screen, probably right side of you all screen next to Greg, and that's my guy, Dub right side. Dub, what's going on, big dog?
Man, shout out to you, Manager Marty. Appreciate you letting me grace your platform. Shout out to Nonito and Rachel. Shout out to y'all. Rachel, you know what it is. Man, everybody on the panel, much love to y'all. Y'all very knowledgeable fellas, man. Love the respect and the conversation that y'all are willing to have with it being very respectful. I gotta break it down real quick. I think this is, first off, man. I agree. I think it was the brother. He said, my brother here in the white. I think it's a Kufi. Don't get me wrong. I apologize if I'm wrong, but I believe my brother said he don't believe it until he see him in the ring. I fall into that same. I feel the exact same way. You done fooled me too many times for me just to come out and believe it full fledged. Now I give both of them brothers credit because they both came out and announced it. They're starting to do the promotion for it, so I do see it happening. But at the same time, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 9, 10, 11, 15 times, and you're not gonna get me again. So I got to see him walking out. That's where I'm at. But at the end of the day, man, I think it's gonna be a hell of a fight. My thing is this. This is what it comes down to, in my opinion. Bud has to hurt EJ. He got to hurt him, and the reason I say that is because we've seen how Errol fights. He's gonna come forward. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna let his hands go. He has a tremendous work rate. People like to tell me, Bud, down low, information start slow. I got you on that. I got it. This is not the fight to do that. This is not the fight to do that. One thing that I've always been critical about Bud is I say he's a southpaw. They say he's a switch hitter. He comes out usually in the orthodox stance, and then after the first 1 or 2 rounds, he get touched up a couple times, and then he switches over to that southpaw stance. I don't think you'll be able to southpaw a southpaw in this fight. A lot of times when he does change to that southpaw position, that's when he can create those angles and get his hands off the way we've seen him be able to do. So what I'm looking for in the fight, I want to see how he starts off. I want to see how much he sticks to that orthodox position in this situation. I think that'll give him the opportunity to control Spence's jab better, and he's gonna have to control Spence's jab to have a real good opportunity at this fight. If he allows Spence to get that jab off, jab his way to the inside, and then make it an inside fight, he's gonna get beat up. It is what it is. He's a smaller dude, and Spence, in my opinion, a top 2, top 3 body puncher in the sport of boxing right now. You can't allow him to close the distance. So and one thing that I've said from the beginning, one thing I love about Bud is one thing that may be a problem for him. I love the dog that Bud has, but this ain't the fight to show your dog, bro. This is not the fight. In my opinion, he need to continue to box. He need to make sure he should try to keep it at range to some degree at least. And then when he has those opportunities to trade, the other thing I love about him, he has fantastic timing, fantastic punch placement, great accuracy, and that's what you're gonna need in this fight. You're gonna have to touch Spence to the effect that it's that you y'all know that get up off me punch. You know what I'm talking about. That punch where he be like, oh, hold on, I gotta be more cautious when I'm going in there, and so he's gonna have to trade and exchange at times. But he got to pick his spots. And I believe somebody said it earlier. I think that spot is going to be somewhere between about 4 and 7. It's going to be somewhere in there where he's going to really have to touch Spence to the point where it's like, okay, I can't just come in there and I just can't be taking shit. You know what I'm saying? I got to respect it enough where I have to. Spence going to kind of change his game plan up. You know what I'm saying? But the problem, I haven't seen Spence have to do that. And then I know my brother said he only seen EJ win one type of way. I done seen multiple ways EJ won. I done seen multiple ways. I go back and watch the Ugas fight. You know what I'm saying? We weren't expecting the uppercut to play that nearly the role it played in that fight. And when he seen he had it, you know what I'm saying? He started working it. My last point, I also heard my brother bring up if if he make the same mistake that he made with Ugas as far as the mouthpiece coming out. I mean, if that's what we're gonna go with, that's tough. We all know Errol Spence Jr. The man got money, brother. Go ahead, get your mouthpiece fitted correctly. I know you said you thought your veneers and your teeth. I got it, but get everything fitted correctly, like Rachel said. Get no air in between. It shouldn't be no way that damn mouthpiece comes out again. But I still think it's going to be a tough ass fight for him. It's going to be a tough ass fight for Bud, and I'm looking forward to it. I really hope it happens, and I'm excited for this fight. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, I got some perspectives, and I do want to hear the panel's perspective on it. I've been saying this since day one. I'm not going to be shy about saying it tonight. Bud Crawford does not include a body attack in his arsenal. He might go to the body here and there when he is trying to finish a fighter off, but I think that he is going to need that in his arsenal for the duration of this fight, because he has to figure out a way to be able to slow Spence down. We know that Spence changed his levels right after the middle of the fight. He changed his levels, and then he just start turning up on you, the same way kind of like Tank Davis does. And so what Bud is going to have to do is figure out ways that he's got to slow Errol Spence down. And one of those ways is not going to be him fighting the way he fought Sean Porter, nor is it going to be the way that he fought David Evanesian. I know Rachel said she'd have to go back and watch that fight with David Evanesian and Crawford, but I've watched that fight several times. And Bud Crawford took a lot of leather from the right overhand right to be exact, several times in that fight with David Evanesian. He also took an overhand right against Mean Green Machine. Hope I'm saying his name right. Mean Bean Machine. And guess what happened? He got knocked down in that fight. And Greg, you said it the best. They didn't call it a knock. The referee did not score it a knockdown or officially call it a knockdown. But Bud Crawford got knocked down in that fight by the same punch. I looked at how Sean Porter, according to my scorecards, and I'm not sure if the unofficial scorecards or the official scorecards had it, but I actually had Sean Porter winning that fight, slightly winning at the time that Bud Crawford knocked him down. Sean Porter did a lot of good foot placement, and Rachel knows this. I look at fighters' feet throughout the entire duration of the fight, and I saw how I had to wave to Rachel for that one because she does the same thing. But I saw how Sean Porter did a good job setting up his punches to advance and get on the inside, and he was successful. And Crawford was holding a lot, to my liking. He was holding Porter a little bit too much, not enough to, I wouldn't say excessive enough to get any points taken away, but to my liking, where he could have, kept Porter off him with the jab. So his last two fights, basically what I'm saying is that I need to see more improvement for him to go in there and stop Errol Spence Jr. Because the last two fights that I saw, last three fights actually, including Kell Brook that I saw with Bud, he was taking too many unnecessary punches. And so he definitely going to have to work on his defense. Instead of him taking 2 steps back, a lot of times as fighters, when we're in the mix, we take 2 steps back, and usually in boxing, that second step back is the placement you'll have, but you'll get punched in the face having that taking that second step back instead of taking 1 step back and pivoting to turn your opponent. And I don't see him doing it a lot. To me personally, I think Errol Spence is going to win this fight. I'm not going to say he's just going to dominate him for 12 rounds, because to me that's unrealistic in there with somebody who is as talented and experienced as Bud. But my number one factor is opposition, the level of opposition. We all know this to be true, Greg. I appreciate your honesty for saying you don't know when Blackstick and Bruce asks you who has Crawford fought, to give you that confidence that, hey, he's going to go in there and dominate him because he has the experience out of 39 professional fights, and there is nobody. And it's no disrespect to Crawford. It's more of a credit to Brad Goodman, the matchmaker over there at Top Rank, and so is it a credit to Bob Arum. They did a wonderful job we call it patent a record in the business. Early on in Crawford's career, got him to multiple championship fights, but the level of competition never increased. And that is why I believe that this is going to be the first time Crawford is going to be exposed to somebody on his level or even on a greater level. And so we got to see how he's going to respond to that. And so I'm looking forward to seeing it. I already told y'all before, I'm still going to stand on my word. I'm not going to fully believe that this fight's going to happen until both of these men step off of the scale on July 28th, Friday night. But
Can I say something?
but we shall see. Absolutely, Black. You got it.
Yeah, this is one reason why I'm just now rethinking this, and I'm not going to say it was Al Haymon, because Al Haymon was going by the book as far as what Showtime was also going by, as far as, you know, what the numbers are, what the pay will be, and all that stuff. And I'm just now thinking this is almost the same thing that Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao had to do. They had to meet at the game, and then they had to go up to Manny's hotel room, and they had to talk themselves before the fight got made. And then I'm just now thinking when Earl said, "Hey, me and Terrence have been talking face to face, and it's finally taken place." So my hopes are a lot more higher up now because of, you know, everything happened for a reason. I mean, Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia, they kind of set a small blueprint. I mean, and then Earl and Terrence took a page out of Manny Pacquiao and Floyd's book of talking face to face. So I feel like they have they've added enough to the picture to say, hey, you know what, we got this, you know, under our control now, not mine, not his, not yours, but our control. And then another thing I wanted to say was I still pick Earl. But one thing about I've noticed with Earl's Earl game is I haven't seen him too many times where he had to hold for anything. But one blueprint is you look at Terrence, you look at Earl's toughest fight when it was that split or a majority decision. You have to be an effective aggressor to even get close to, you know, hurting or coming to a close fight with Earl. You have to be an effective aggressor. And when you look at Terrence's resume, we look at Terrence's resume, Terrence is only an effective aggressor when he has you hurt.
Yes.
So that's another reason I will say that Earl will have the vote, is because Earl can take a punch. I mean, I don't think he's been on the canvas one time in his career yet. And it's like, okay, you look at Gamboa, big name, undefeated, gold medalist, but, you know, suspect chin. You look at Amir Khan, suspect chin. All the other guys he's fought, they're really just, you know, fly-by-night champions. No specific boxing historical record they have. You look at Kell Brook, you know, kind of, like you said, on his way out. So, but the best way, the blueprint of beating a good, solid, true champion like Earl is effective aggression. And, I mean, Bud has that only when he has you in trouble. That's
I'm sorry.
Good point. King Morgan, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, bro.
We got King Morgan here. King Morgan, I know.
Marty,
can you hear me?
I can hear you, big dog.
All right, King Morgan, you got it. And DC Jeroy, I saw your hand. So King Morgan, give us your piece. DC, you can go right to King Morgan. Speak on to King Morgan. Thank you for being here tonight.
Hey, Marty, first off, I want to say salute to you, bro. You've been putting pressure from the day since you touched down. I just feel like this, man. At the end of the day, everything you guys are saying is 100% facts. I just don't feel like Bud have enough pop to keep that bull off of him. One thing about Earl, you heard him today in the press conference say, "I'm stepping. As soon as that bill starts, I'm stepping." Like we talk about, like somebody said earlier in the panel, we talk about how Bud can download this and download that, but by the time he figure it out, he may be hurt, or he may not have that 100% stamina that he usually has, because half of the people he fight, when he's taking that time to download, it's almost seem like they're taking that same time to download as well. They're not really aggressive, pressuring him. You get what I mean? Honestly, the older Terrence Crawford is getting, the looser his combinations are becoming. They're wider now. And the straight punch, the best punch is a straight punch directly to you, which is a jab. I think Earl's power, his relentlessness, is going to give Terrence Crawford problems. And it's another thing we haven't even talked about, fellas, not even just in the ring, But Bud ain't never fought under them popcorn lights before, under that big stage when you got thousands and thousands and thousands of people there watching too. That's a lot of pressure too. And then you look across from you, you got a man with a Lamborghini engine in him. That it's a lot of stuff that can really play a part in this fight. I think Terrence Crawford, to me, I know Terrence Crawford is a great, but to me it seemed like he in it for the bag, Earl in it for the belts. I mean, he feel like he already got his legacy. Earl, like even if you go back to when they met in Oklahoma years ago, it's only one person laughing and joking. Earl has never been laughing and joking when he say I'm gonna be on that ass. He has never laughed or joked one time. I think Earl ain't forgot nothing that Bernie the boxer said, Bo Mack, all them when he got in the car accident. He ain't forgot none of that. And Earl, one of them people, he's so disciplined because, like they say, it takes a man to have a million words to say, but he don't say nothing at all. He can hold all that in, and he gonna show him fight night. So I believe fight night, fellas. Terrence done been on way more than he can chew, and I think we're really gonna see how good Terrence Crawford really is not. That's all I got, and I'm listening.
You got it.
Hey, I think
Yeah.
where Earl is going to get hurt is when he's trying to go and use his body punching. That's where he's going to get hurt. That is where he's going to get hurt. It won't be in any. I believe that's where the hurt will come. That's what will change the trajectory of the fight. I do also agree, and it's probably a blueprint for other fighters who want to fight each other to seriously start talking to each other, because that puts a little bit of pressure on whoever their managers, whoever their promoters are, that we need to be a little more serious to bring these fights together for the fans to see. Because I think that's what I think you mentioned that Mayweather and Pacquiao did that before CBS said, y'all make this fight, because it was going back and forth. So I think what they've been doing, what Tank did with Garcia, I think that's kind of something that fighters are going to have to take a little more control, or at least be a lot more involved in making the fights happen. But as far as the fights going, like I said, Terrence is a lot smarter. He already knows he's fighting a bigger, stronger man. So that's where the intelligence is going to come into. He's going to look for Spence to throw those body punches. He's going to catch some of them. He's going to get hurt by some of them. But that's where he's going to hurt Spence. And that's where we'll see how this fight is really going to go. And I think that's going to happen probably in about the 5th round. I still see it going all the way to 12. I don't see a knockout from either one of them. But because Spence is saying he's training for a knockout, I hope he doesn't overtrain. And I hope he doesn't leave himself open too many times. Because I want to see a long fight. I don't necessarily want to see a quick knockout. I want to see them use every aspect of their game in this fight. Because we're talking about who's the best welterweight in the world, who's the #1 fighter. And in order to see that, we got 2 alpha class guys in the ring. Let's see everything they got and who's going to be better on that particular night.
I got you. Let me get this super chat. I'm going to need somebody has a lot of feedback in your background. If you're not speaking, can you please put your phone or your device on mute so that the audience won't hear a lot of feedback? I don't know if it's COE or if it's King Morgan. But I'm hearing someone's feedback in the background. You can mute that. DC Geroy, it's on you. And then we got COE in the bottom corner there. You can go at the DC. Let me get this super chat from my guy, Tyrese. Thank you, Tyrese, for your contribution. He says, fight is only happening because Canelo declined a PBC offer. That was from Tyrese. Thank you for your contribution and your support. DC Geroy, you've heard what King Morgan said. You heard the rebuttal of Greg. What's your take on it, DC?
Yeah, so 3 points really quickly. One, I would definitely not say, and maybe I'm nitpicking, Brother Greg, but I heard you say that Bud was a lot smarter fighter, and I definitely would push back and challenge on that. I think one of the most underrated things about Earl amongst many is his boxing IQ. You don't obviously Bud is good, right? But you don't make it to the point of where Spence does going through the different caliber of fighters by not being an intelligent fighter, not being able to make the necessary adjustments. Spence have shown, whether it's Mikey, whether it's Sean, whether it's Danny, whether it's Ugas, you can run a list. Lamar Peterson, even going back, he has the ability to make various adjustments against his opponent. That takes a high level of skill and IQ. So I definitely wanted to push back on being a lot smarter. The other two things is one, when I look at these two fighters, another reason that I feel and I sense something from Spence between the two that's going into this fight, Bud is, I think, is trying to motivate himself into being the one that's the more feeling like he has more to prove. But the truth of the matter is Spence, right? Spence hears Mike Tyson and the James Tonys and everybody counting him out and talking about how Spence is going to be out of there, and the Ray Leonard's, right? I mean, he looked up to Ray Leonard, and Ray Leonard has him losing. And so Spence has a chip on his shoulder because once again, he feels like he's not being respected and he's the underdog. And it's like, what more do I have to prove and show? Then the last thing that I wanted to talk about is greatness, right? And so whether we're talking boxing, whether we're talking football, whether we're talking basketball, any other sport, what happens as a result of greatness is the ability to make the adjustment for that particular opponent, right? You can't go into the game plan. You might, depending upon your opponent's style, but you can't approach each opponent with the same type of game plan or strategy because most times that's not going to work. I think when we start talking about Spence and the difference between a Bomac and a Derrick James, that's going to be the part that's going to ultimately tell the difference between this fight. I think Bomac, I don't believe in talking bad about him, but when you start talking about game planning and moving towards greatness, there's a reason why Spence is there. And what we haven't talked about tonight is that man that's in the corner that's training and leading those two fighters to victory. And I think that's the untold part that's going to get Spence over the edge, that preparation and moving towards greatness. And those are the 3 points that I wanted to hit.
Good points, man. COE, excuse me, you got it. Rachel, you can go right after COE. COE, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, brother. Thanks for joining the panel, man. Speak on it.
Yeah, if you don't mind hitting mute, Jay. Sound like
that JJ?
Sound like a truck or something rolling.
JJ, if you can press mute so the audience won't hear the feedback.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There you go. COE,
okay.
You got it. And then Rach right after COE. What's your take, COE?
Okay, yeah, man. Just want to say salute to you, my guy, man. You always coming on, giving everybody the updates, giving everybody the real, and just giving your honest perspective of the fight in boxing. Period. So, just want to say appreciate it, man. Salute.
Salute.
Yeah. So, I feel that with this fight, some people say it's a 50-50 fight. Me personally, I think it's more of a 65, 35 fight, or a 60-40 fight rather. And this is the reason why I say that. IQ, the IQ, being able to adjust. When you look at Spence, everybody, like he said, he gonna be stepping. Well, you don't want to step into something that you're going to regret. You know what I mean? You can be stepping, but you step into something that trap that Crawford set. I heard my guy say that Crawford get hit a lot. Well, yeah, he get hit a lot, but why do he get hit? He get hit because he's setting traps. It's a trap. And what wind up happening? Knockout. It's a knockout that pursues after that. You can set a trap long, and you could take it from what Tank said. Tank said he saw He saw Rolly throw that left 3 times. He saw Garcia throw that check left. Throw that left hook 3 times. And what happens is that information get downloaded. And Crawford is he's the type of fighter that he loves to set traps, man. He loves to set you up and he catch you. It ain't, and I know, Marty, I think I heard you say that Spence, he could take a punch. But man, all boxers can take a punch. But it's the punch that you don't see. It's the punch you don't see, man. Listen, it's the punch you don't see that gets you out of there. And if you think I'm lying, just look at Tank, look at Tank and what's the Pitbull Cruz. Pitbull Cruz, he was getting hit with the kitchen sink, but I think Pitbull Cruz seen that left coming in. I think he saw those punches coming in. Tank was hitting him with everything, man. And like I said once before, Spence could take a punch, but I also seen Spence get rocked. I seen him get rocked, and I seen him kind of get discombobulated. Once who the best in the game closing the show, y'all? It's Crawford. It's Crawford. I mean, hands down, you got to get who the best at closing the show. When he got you hurt, who gonna get you up out of there? And that's Crawford. And that's that point. And I heard my guys, DC said greatness. Man, that's the reason why Crawford come from 135 all the way up to here. He haven't been in one weight class from beginning and to all the way up to now. No, he's chasing greatness. 35, killed it. 40, undisputed. For 147, look what position he in now. Greatness. If he do that, nobody in boxing has ever been undisputed in 2 weight classes besides Clarissa Shields. And then he going for Charlo, which is what 3-time undisputed. That's up there with Clarissa Shields, man. Come on, let's be honest on that. So his hunger for this, his hunger for this is next level. He been wanting this. You know what I mean? He been wanting this since 135, not 146.
COE, can I say something? This man Jamarty, can I say something, COE?
Yeah.
I have to correct you on 2 things. One, you said, and I do agree that it is the punch in boxing that you don't see that knocks you out.
Oh yeah.
But you said all boxers have a chin, and I'm here to tell you, no they don't.
No, I didn't say no. I didn't say have a chin. I said could take a punch.
That's not true. I can assure you that all boxers cannot take a punch.
Yes,
that is not true.
Well, tell me this. Okay, tell me this.
That's not true.
Have you ever seen somebody get hit by Mike Tyson more than once?
What?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You said
I'm talking about a power punch. A power punch.
Brother, real quick, I just want to say, Josue Vargas, respectfully to him, the man can't take a punch, bro. Josue Vargas get his ass knocked out every time anything that connect on the chin.
Amir Khan can't take a punch.
I'm just saying, so everybody can't take a punch. I understand what you're saying is the punch that you don't see, but everybody can't take a punch. That's not true.
Everybody can't take a punch, bro. But look, it's another thing you said. You said that a lot of times Bud Crawford is setting his shots up, and that's why he's taking those punches freely. Here's the thing.
No,
it's
not
easy
freely.
Not
freely. I mean, sometimes you gotta get a punch. You gotta take a punch in order to give a punch. You know what I mean?
Right, but the difference, I agree with you, but the difference is he can take those type of chances and risks against a guy who's driving a city bus. But if he get in there with Spence and think he's gonna and think that he's gonna let Spence do that to him, let Spence hit him so that he can wait for a punch, he gonna be waking up off the ground thinking that he shouldn't have did that. And the bottom line is, it goes back. But COA, you got to agree with me, and I know people on the panel may agree or disagree, but the truth of the matter is, not one of you on this panel, particularly you that believe in Bud Crawford winning this fight, can tell me a defensive move that Bud Crawford shows in his fights. Bud Crawford is not good at defense. Errol Spence is really good at defense, and I know it gets overlooked a lot, but Errol Spence blocks a lot of shots. He does a lot of different things defensively. Now, do he get hit? Yes, this is boxing. You're going to get hit. But
That's what I'm saying.
Terrence Bud Crawford does not have good defense with
Okay,
his
who's
feet
better?
or his arms or his shoulders or his
His feet?
forearms or his head
What?
or moving his head
What?
off the line.
Man, dude, Crawford has some of the best footwork in boxing.
Where
Are
you
you
been at?
serious right now? Are you
No,
serious
he
right now?
does not. I be watching
What?
Crawford feet all the time, brother. No, he
Okay,
does
so who have
not.
better feet, Spence or Crawford?
I think Spence has better feet than Crawford. He's
Okay, who's the better
Crawford.
counterpuncher? Who's a better counterpuncher, Spence or Crawford?
Well, that's all Crawford does is counterpunch. So I'll give that to Crawford.
So to be a good counterpuncher, you have to have good footwork.
Well, that's not. Well, you have to have good footwork, but you got to remember
Yeah.
when Crawford counterpunches, most of the time he's moving. But like I,
Okay,
but like I
exactly.
said, but like I, but no, hear me out. He's moving, but like I said earlier, you wasn't on the panel. He's moving, taking 2-3 steps back instead of taking one step back one time, one step, and then pivoting, and throwing the hook when he's turning you. Crawford don't do that a lot. I've been watching Crawford for a long time. He
Okay.
and this is where he gets hit with those overhand rights. Go back and watch that David Evanesian fight. Go back and
Oh
watch
yeah,
Kell Brook.
I
Go
watched it.
back and watch, huh?
I watched it. I done broke it down, and I see Spence reaching a lot, throwing that, trying to hit that body with that right hand, reaching. You can't do that against Crawford. You
No, I agree with
cannot.
that. I agree
Yeah.
with that, COE. I agree that he shouldn't be reaching, but I'm gonna ask you something. Do you think that Crawford took too many punches from David Evanesian? Yes or no?
I think that he took more than he should have. Yeah, I do think he more than I do think he took more than what he should have, but I think it was all calculated. You know what I
No, it
mean? I
wasn't.
think it was
He was catching
calculated.
that ball with that overhand right, man. I'm trying to tell you, it was that overhand right. Mean Machine hit him with that overhand right a couple times and dropped him. You remember that, don't you?
I remember he got hit, but I don't think it was just a full-fledged, just a drop. It was he probably got hit with it, but it wasn't nothing like Avanesian or when Spence hit Porter, it wasn't nothing that was clean like that. It was more of a okay, you caught me doing a little shot in my little moving motion, and he kind of slipped down, but it it,
No, he
it was
got
a
caught. A COE. Let me tell you how he got caught with that overhand right. He was on the inside, and Crawford is not good as an inside fighter.
but who's the last? Oh yeah, I mean I seen him get hit, but man, I'm telling you, Crawford. If you watch all his fights, that man he set more traps than I done ever seen in boxing. This man, I'm talking about, he can hit you with something. You would throw something, but he already knew you was gonna throw that, and night, good night, lights out. So
I got you.
so his last fights, you can go to Kell Brook, you can go to Porter, you can go, all of them been knockouts, and they all say the same thing. Like damn, he set traps. He get you out of there with stuff that you don't see. He's a very intelligent boxer from top to bottom. Like
I
he's a
got
Hey,
complete fighter.
CEO, can I ask you one quick
Can I
question?
ask this question?
And
you.
Oh, go ahead.
Hold on, everybody. Hold on 1 second. Let me regulate it because I interjected because I just
uh,
wanted to ask that, but I want to keep my word. Rachel is still stuck in the background, and I did say she was next, so I'm sorry, Rach.
Yeah.
It's on you, Rach. What you got?
Um, well, shoot, we went like down three by this time. So, I mean, the first one I did want to talk about. I love you, Marty. It's all good.
Love you
Um,
too, man.
yeah, Greg. As far as like you saying that two boxers should come to the table more often. While I do agree with that, the thing is that what we're missing is the business aspect. One of the things that Spence is not going to be able to award him or to give him within the negotiations of them talking to each other is give him a guarantee because Spence is not paying it. So as much as it sounds great, I love it when boxers do want to go face to face. Um, we do have to point out the obvious that Bud doesn't have representation as far as a promoter right now or a network. So it makes it a lot easier for them to sit down at a table because he doesn't have someone like if he had signed Golden Boy, this would have been a whole hoopla again. It would have been a total whole hoopla on who was going to get the TV rights, um, the splits and all that stuff. Because then, of course, Golden Boy would have their claws in it as well. They're going to be trying to get the most money because they get anywhere between 20 to 30% of what the purse is for their fighter for that contract. So of course they're going to want to do that. Second, what was the other thing? I think I lost the second point because we were going around and talking about different things. But I do want to point out that yes, Bud did have great footwork when he was in the lighter weight. Now, one of the biggest things I always say is even with Canelo, when he started moving up in weight, even though Nito, when he started moving up in weight, a lot of these fighters think that just moving up in weight means I'm just not going to cut as much. The problem with that perception is that when you're trying to gain the weight into a different muscle division, it shouldn't just be fat weight. It should be muscle weight and training your body to sustain within having that additional 5 pounds. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I fluctuate in weight, if I'm 5 pounds over than I am right now and I'm trying to run, it's heavier. My lung capacity is harder. It takes a lot more for me to breathe, a lot for my muscles to fire up. So, that being said, as Crawford has moved up, I've seen less movement in his footwork that he had at the lower weight division. That's all.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. If we look at Crawford at 35, his early days at 40, that's when you saw him utilizing lateral movement to the best of his ability. Since he's been at 47, what you really see him doing, he sit down on the shots more than anything else. And so, hence the reason we see a lot of the him clipping guys the way he clipping them. But I agree 100% with what Rachel just said there. And it my other point I want to make is Errol Spence, in my opinion, he doesn't have the quickest footwork, but the education of the footwork that he utilizes is superb. You know what I mean?
Right.
How he's able to mirror, how he's able to cut the ring off, how he keeps himself right where he needs to be to put himself or to let his hands go to get to where he wants to be. You know what I mean? Does he have the fast? Is he the fleetest of foot? Absolutely not. But it's very educated foot movement, and there's a difference between having fast feet and educated feet. A total difference. And I think his is more on the education side versus fast that quick side.
Well, that being that he is, his foot, I'm always weird about Spence's foot, how wide his stance is. But being said that, he does have he has a quicker time to be able to A, cut off the ring, and B, trap his opponents with the proper foot placement, especially when they're in a different stance. There's feedback. So, as far as that's concerned, yeah, look at his foot placement. His stance is very wide. He's able to cut you off a lot sooner. And if he wanted to just jab you, he moves his foot onto the inside of his stance. And if he wants to throw a straight, he'll move it onto the outside. So those kind of things, Marty and I feel like are the only ones that ever talk about foot placement. But yeah, you're right side.
Let me get the super chat, and then JJ, you're in the bottom corner. I'll get you. Salute to Jesse Green. Thank you for your contribution and your support to the channel. Jesse Green says, in my opinion, this is a cash out for Bud. I really believe he don't think he can beat Spence. That's why he took so long to make this fight. He wants generational wealth before he hangs them up. Smart move. That was by Jesse Green. Thank you for supporting the channel, Jesse. JJ, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
All right, guy. What's your take? You've heard a lot so far. So what's your take on this, man? Who wins in your opinion?
Hey, just hear me out. This is what I gotta say. So Manager Marty and a lot of other people on this panel, I see you guys been calling Bud a duck over the last couple of years. You've been calling that man names. I think you guys all owe him an apology. He took
Okay.
that PBC contract. He took that PBC contract against all odds. All you guys were like, he's a duck, calling him names, all kinds of names. I'm seeing that shit all over YouTube.
All
So
right,
I
I got
think you guys owe him an apology.
I got you, Jay.
That's
I,
my take.
all right, I got you. Hold on, JJ. Let me speak for myself. I categorically deny the fact that I owe Terrence Bud Crawford any apology. If anybody owes anybody anything, I think Terrence Bud Crawford owes me a thank you because I haven't called Terrence Crawford not one name, never insulted the man, never disrespected him, not once, not on this channel. You can't find one video where I've disrespected him or insulted him or said anything derogatory about his name or anything like that. But what you will find on my channel is me telling Terrence Crawford for the last 7 months that he needs to have good representation in the negotiations because he can't out-negotiate Terrence, him or Bo Mack can out-negotiate Steven Espinosa or Al Haymon. But also, they don't have a network, so that's why he also needs to have good representation. And also, he's not a big ticket seller, nor is he an extravagant pay-per-view seller compared to Errol Spence. And then you also heard me say that if he signs with PBC, which I believe he should have done, I got it on December 1st, 2022. You wasn't here, JJ, but I'm sure somebody in the chat will remind you that on December 1st of 2022, I gave Terrence Bud Crawford the whole layout of how PBC does their contracts with big fights, signing multi-fight deals, and that Terrence Bud Crawford should do the same thing that Manny Pacquiao did after he secured the fight with Floyd Mayweather after leaving Bob Arum. I said that on August the 3rd, I believe, in 2022 on YSM Sports Media Channel. And everybody that's been here for the last 2 hours and 40 some odd minutes will attest that that's exactly what I said. I rolled the tape back on all this, JJ. So I personally don't think I owe Terrence Bud Crawford anything. In fact, I've been a YouTube manager helping everybody else secure certain deals in their own fights, me and Rachel. So the guy actually owes me a thank you.
No, yeah, same JJ. Like you'll never hear it. Okay, I can't say never, but it's extremely rare. And I'll tell you the one time I did use the word duck, and it's actually about Jason Maloney. But that's my personal vested interest because of the amount of time we tried to secure that fight with Jason Maloney. But as far as Bud, Nonito's friends with Bud. I'm okay with him. Like I'm not as close like Nonito is, but at the same time, I never call a fighter a duck. Because the fact that once you step in that ring, for me, like I give you 100% respect. You know, whether or not the negotiations go through, et cetera, et cetera. But please don't generalize anyone that's on YouTube that is speaking this way. If there's a YouTuber that you have an issue with, then please do call them out by name. But I mean, I can tell you from me, at least myself, I never called Bud a duck.
One of
I would also
Manager
never
Marty's
fight.
videos calls him a duck.
Okay.
Huh?
One of your videos title says, this is why Terrence Crawford ducked.
My video or Rachel's?
Your videos, Manager Marty's.
Did you watch it or did you just read the title?
That's what your title says.
No. I didn't see. That's why I'm glad you didn't answer. Let me reframe the question. Did you watch the content or did you just see a title that said that?
I watched the video too, yeah.
All right, so tell me what I said, because I'm going to roll the tape on myself. What did I say?
I don't remember the exact details, but I know around the fact that you were saying different reason why he's avoiding the fight.
Yeah, and everything I said was a fact.
I disagree.
Huh?
I disagree with you.
I respect that. Let me ask you a question, JJ, since you disagreed,
Yeah.
and I'm okay with you disagreeing. Let me ask you something. Did you hear Bud Crawford say that Al Haymon tried to F him in the deal, in the negotiations? Did you hear him say that?
Yeah, I heard him say that.
You did? Okay. Did you hear Bud Crawford say that he's his own boss and he don't need representation and he represents himself when he talked to the big wigs? Did you hear him say that?
Yeah, we heard him say that.
No, not we. I'm asking you. Did you hear him say that, JJ?
Yes.
You did hear him say that. Okay. So let me ask you a question. Why is he signing a fight with a guy that tried to F him in the long run in the deal and a guy who basically he said, he don't need to take this fight and talk to Al Haymon? Why is we getting this fight right now if everything that Bud Crawford said was true?
Well, guess what? Bud Crawford leveraged himself to a $10 million guarantee. And I'm going to ask Rachel this. Has any PBC fighter been guaranteed a $10 million?
Hold on for a minute,
$10 million
JJ.
guarantee.
Hold on, JJ, because you're trying to ask everybody on the panel that came on the show here. Hold on. I asked you a question, and my question to you is why would Bud Crawford not just talk about fighting one fight deal, but fighting 2 fights with a promotion company that tried to screw him over in the long run? Why would he do business with somebody and do 2 fights with them? That's what I'm asking you.
Because he was tired of all the backlash. And he just wanted to prove he's the best fighter at that division.
Well, if that was the case,
he took that deal.
But JJ, if that was the case, he could have took the fight 2-3 years ago. So we know.
Yeah,
that's
but he
true.
leveraged himself a $10 million guarantee.
When?
And a 50-50 split.
When?
That $10 million guarantee is actually not. It's not proven.
Yeah, when did he do that? That's what I'm trying to figure out. When?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He got a $10 million guarantee and a 50-50 split.
That's what I'm asking you. Where is this source coming from? I'm gonna look it up.
If you want to dig into information like that, we can question everything. You know.
No. I'm only questioning you because you said it live right now in front of 1,000 people. Huh?
Mike Coppinger, that's the source.
Oh, he's not a credible source on this channel. I can assure you that. Not on this channel.
I take him as a credible source.
Well, I've proved Mike Coppinger wrong several different times on this channel, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I'm not trying to bash Mike Coppinger.
Well, let me help him out. Because you was on to something, and you said that he could have made the fight 3 years ago. Well, according to what's coming out now, and you can go check it on First Take. Crawford said right there in front of Spence, and he kind of reiterated again. He said that Spence said he was going to take the easy route, get all the belts, and then come to Crawford. So obviously it was all on Spence. It wasn't on Crawford. It was on Spence.
Wait, let me clarify.
Hold up. He would. So if he said that he was going to take the easy route and get all 3 belts, then say the hardest for last, then everything up to that point kind of alleviates the Crawford ducking situation if that was Spence's whole motive from the get-go.
Right, but let's be clear here. Spence have been saying for a whole year who he wanted next. And then for a whole hold on for a minute, COE, I got you. For a whole 1 year after he fought Ugas, everybody on this panel heard it. Errol Spence said, I said I was going to get all of the belts on my side of the street first, and then Crawford, I'm coming over there to take your S2.
Yep.
That was Errol Spence's words right after he fought Ugas. That was last April of 2022, correct?
Right.
Okay. Now, before that, let's go back 2 years before that. In May of 2021, he was on Brian Custer's show. I can pull the tape up and roll it back. Brian Custer asked Errol Spence, he said, who is your next 3 opponents? If you had to choose, he said Danny Garcia, Manny Pacquiao, and then Terrence Bud Crawford. Now, since you brought up the fact that Spence said the easy route, didn't we hear somebody else use the word easy route? Hold on, COE. Hold on. You said the easy route, so I want to respond to that.
No, we're talking about now.
Hold on, bro. No, I got you. But Bomac used the word easy route. Remember, Bomac used the word they wanted to go the easy route to get the WBO title. And nobody criticized Bomac when he said the easy route to get the WBO title. So why are we criticizing Spence for saying he's going the easy route to get all the 3 belts and then fight Crawford?
No, see, it's chess. The first thing you want to do is get a title because he told Bud to get a title. He said get a belt first.
You didn't answer my question, COE. You did not answer. Hold on, COE.
You're talking about Bomac. Ted Bomac talking about the easy route, right?
COE, hold on for 1 second. Somebody has feedback, and I want to make sure the audience hears this. Can everybody on the panel mute their phones or electronic device, please? Can everybody mute their?
There it is. It's good.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I was unmuted. My bad.
Oh, that's all good. So COE. The question was, if Bomac can say that they meaning him and Terrence Crawford took the easy route to get the WBO title from Jeff Horn when he moved up, how is it a criticism on Errol Spence if he said he was going to go get all of the belts from his side of the street first and then fight Crawford? Why is that a criticism against Spence?
It's not a criticism towards Spence. What this you missing the point? From my perspective, we was talking about my guy was talking about saying that Bud was ducking, and the whole point was Bud coming from 135, 140, and he petitioned to want to fight, but what Spence tell him? Spence told him to get a belt first. So when he get a belt, now it's you going over there. Now you wanna take the route to fight Garcia with no belt. You want to fight this, but this wasn't Spence though. This is all Al Haymon. He was trying to build a fight, get the money and all that. Cause Spence want to fight, but to me, if Spence would have been pushing like he pushing now for the fight, like he said, they want him to fight Thurman. But what he say? Just listen to First Take. Go to First Take. Spence said they wanted him to take another fight, but he was like, "No, I want this Bud fight." So my thing is, he was saving Bud for last because he knew Bud was going to be the hardest. If that's the case,
that's not true. That's not true.
So why would he say that then?
That's not true.
So why else would he say it then?
First of all, Errol Spence never told Crawford to get a belt. If he did, we want to pull it up now because I thought
he
Keith
did
Thurman
tell him to get a belt.
I thought I heard Keith Thurman tell him to
Thurman.
get a belt. I thought Keith Thurman told him get a belt and don't duck me, son, and send me a contract and I'll sign it. That's what I heard Keith say.
Spence told Crawford, he get a belt and then we can talk. He said he told him he get a belt and then we can see what's up. That was Spence said.
Okay.
Hold up. It was man, it was what was that on? What fight was that? They was interviewing Spence and he was like, "Yeah, you tell him to get where he get a belt and then we can see what's up." Because he was like,
He was saying if he gets past Jeff Horn. That's what he said. He said in the hallway of a fight he was in. He said because what's his name? Crawford had not even made it to the welterweight division yet. He said whoever has the belt, whoever has the belt. So if Terrence ain't got no belt, he's on a mission for whoever got the belt. He don't even care who got the belt. His thing is Jeff Horn, him, whoever got the belt can that's who I'm trying to fight. That's his point was, if you ain't got no belt, how is fighting you going to help me become undisputed? That's his only mission, is to become undisputed. So anybody who ain't got no belt, you're pretty much off the radar unless otherwise. But at the same time, it was Keith Thurman who told him to get a belt because Keith Thurman at the time had 2 belts. And then Keith Thurman thought beating Pacquiao would make him the A side and all that, but he lost. So ever since Terrence had a belt, he has been, Errol has been trying to make the fight ever since he had a belt because he's the one who's holding him back from being undisputed. And then you had Terrence, who was like, he don't know what it's like to be undisputed. He's playing keep away and all this other stuff. When really, that's why Earl just said, put all the past behind us. We're talking about the future now. As far as who's a duck, who's not, that's what we got. Like the past right now is nothing but promotion for what's going on now. But when I really think about it, if we all sit back and think about it, it's who's hungrier. And if you guys just look at history, who's hungrier? A lot of guys, no fire is the same, but a lot of guys who make boxing history they lose their hunger, their desire. Mike Tyson, youngest heavyweight champion in history. After he made history, he lost his interest. He lost his motivation, even though his corner was dying on him. You look at Roy Jones Jr. He made a little bit of history, middleweight to heavyweight, became champion, lost his motivation and his interest. You look at Manny Pacquiao, became an 8-division world champion, lost his interest, and started losing his motivation. And you look at Crawford. That's why he's not showing as much motivation, because to him, I already made history. I already made the International Boxing Hall of Fame. You know, I've already been there. To him, he's not showing as much interest in being a businessman. Is normally whoever has the biggest why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Whoever has the biggest why is normally who makes the most sales or makes the most accomplishments in business.
Okay.
And we look at Bud,
right.
he really ain't got nothing to prove right now.
Hey,
Okay.
COE, hold up. Two things I wanted to address really quickly. I think when you all are taking the easy route and you're taking it out of context.
Right.
What was meant was by the easier route, because of some of the known complications that are involved with trying to fight with the quote unquote guys across the street. It made more sense for me to fight the folks that are in house, because there's not as much complications involved with getting those fights booked. That's what he meant by easier, not taking the easier fighter. That's one. Two, when we're talking about ducking, and I'm not calling Terrence a duck. I did have some suspicions about what was his motivation or lack of motivation for not wanting to fight, because how long has Spence been unified now? And so if we look at how long he's been unified, and the fact that he's been standing on his word that all I'm interested in is fighting for fights so I can get unified, how long has it taken us to get to this point? And so that's where the conversations and the concerns about if Terrence had been ducking, because it's taken us almost 2 years to get to this point, and Spence has been unified for over 2 years now. And so I just wanted to touch those points.
Thank you so much, DC Jeroy. And that was the point that I was making, taking it out of context. That's why I asked you, why is he being criticized for the easy route statement? And Bomax said it and he wasn't. The point that I'm making is this. Everybody in the chat viewing this live, the replay of this live, and even on this panel knows that Errol Spence for the last several years had a mission that he wanted to accomplish, and that was to be undisputed in the welterweight division. And there is no denying that. That is an irrefutable fact, and we all know the bottom line is this. We're only talking about this fight right now because Bud Crawford did something that he should have done 2 years ago, something that he should have done a year ago. So let's not act like Spence was just sitting around waiting, because think about it in this regard, and I'm gonna spin it right back on you both this way. When Errol Spence said he wasn't going to fight Keith Thurman, I heard every Bud Crawford fan say he said he wasn't going to fight Keith Thurman. When reports came out by your boy JJ, Mike Coppinger included, that said that Spence was going to fight Keith Thurman, they was going to fight at this weight class, and blasey. And Terrence Bud Crawford fans were saying he said he wasn't going to fight Keith Thurman, but the reports are saying he is going to fight him. He's not being a man of his word. So the reason why I asked you that question, JJ, is because we all heard Crawford say he wasn't going to fight Spence. But now he's supposed to be fighting Spence, so he ain't keep his word either. But Spence kept his word. Spence said he wasn't going to fight Keith Thurman, and he ain't fighting him. And he said he wanted Crawford, and he's going to get him. So my thing is, we got to give credit where it's due and look at the facts and call a spade a spade. That's all I'm saying.
That's a good point, Manager Marty. But I got a dip, and I'm gonna say thank you for having me on the show. And Rachel, let's get you on a debate with Rick Glazer soon.
Man, Rick Glazer don't want no work with Rachel, and he don't want no work with me. Tell Rick Glazer to come over here, talk to me. He ain't got to talk to Rachel.
I got him set up. I got him set up on BFTV channel, but BFTV just kicked him out.
All right.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Stop. He went up there and I watched it because me and BFTV talked. And I replayed it, and he went up there and he said, "I don't like your attitude. This was not the
Oh,
format
what's
that
wrong with it?
I was." What do you mean? What's wrong with it?
He
So
was
he
right.
didn't kick
He
him
shouldn't be
off.
disrespected.
He
He
didn't
set
kick
up
him
a
off.
debate.
He didn't kick him
Okay,
off. What
maybe I
did
gotta
he
get
said,
him on with
"Actually, I'm
Manager
gonna
Marty.
leave. I'm sorry you're so upset. This is not what this is not the format that I was told. Um, and I don't like your attitude, so I'm not gonna." BFTV tried to keep him up, and he dipped.
Hey JJ, you speaking
Yeah,
you speaking for Rich Glazer when you know good and well for the last 20 something years, Rick Glazer have an issue with Al Haymon. He don't like Al Haymon.
Rick Glazer's been boxing for a long time, and he knows what's up.
No,
So
I didn't say
I
that.
got
I'm not talking about that. I'm saying he has an issue, a 20-year beef with Al Haymon. You speaking for him on my platform. Tell him to come over here then. Tell
yeah,
him to
we're
come
gonna set
holler at
him up
me.
on your channel. Yeah, if you make it
Huh?
fair and respectful, we can
Huh?
set it up on your channel if you keep it fair and respectful.
Everything I do is fair and respectful, JJ, or you wouldn't be on the panel.
I agree. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
send him
and
over here if you want to
JJ,
talk to me.
Marty, if he comes here, he won't come if I'm on the panel. Just FYI. JJ
He
knows
talked
this.
to you on that other show, didn't he? On the phone when
What
you
other
called in.
show? What other show? Do you know how
True
long ago that show was?
Media, the USA Boxing. I watched that show. He was
Yeah,
on there with.
because he didn't know it was me until I said something. But if he knows I'm on the show, he won't go. He's told
No,
Donito, he's
if
told Rapstar, he's told so many people he will never talk to me again. So I don't know what his issue is. It's kind of funny to me, but he's not going to come here, and I don't see why because I've never cussed him out. He's the one that was calling me names. I've always been respectful.
JJ, you speaking highly of the guy. If he come over here like anybody else, I won't have other people on the panel. It'll just be me and him. But you speaking up for the boy, you talking like he this and that, like you on my panel. Let's tell him come and holler at me then. Cause I
Yeah,
tell him like it is
we're
too.
gonna do a debate. Yeah, for sure with you and him.
All right, well, hey, it is what it is. I don't back down from nobody, JJ. You know that.
Okay, we'll see. That guy's got 35 years of experience in boxing, but okay.
And I applaud his experience, but that don't mean he going to out debate me because I don't even know what he want to debate about. But you put the man name up.
Yep,
Yeah,
You
I
brought
did.
him up to talk to Rachel. So I'm not
Okay,
gonna let
yeah.
you debate.
I hear you. I'm talking on the phone real quick.
Huh? What was that?
what?
I'm sorry, y'all.
So,
Man, hold up.
What's going on?
Yeah,
I don't know why
hey JJ.
everyone wants to bring up mine. Whenever they bring up Rick Glazer, they bring up my name. It's funny.
Hey JJ, let me ask you a
Who would
question
have?
before you dip though,
Yeah,
JJ. Why you start all
yeah.
this trouble and now you gonna leave? What's all that about, bro?
I mean, what do I gotta stay for?
No, you don't have to stay. I'm just saying you came on here, you threw shots at me and Rachel and the people, and then you gonna do all that. I asked you two questions, you answered one, then COE came in and backed you up. Now you dipping. I'm just saying, was that your plan? Did you really have something really, to say about the fight,
All I
or
have
you
to
just
say
wanted
that
to?
you guys owe Omaha, Nebraska apology for calling that man names and slandering his name for
I
years.
just told you I never
Anon,
slandered him.
EFTB boxing,
You got to go on their
ego, all
channel,
that.
JJ. You got to go on their channel. Whoever you talking about, I don't know who you talking about, but you got to go on their channel. To nobody on this panel disrespected Bud Crawford at all, so that doesn't apply to us. So you got to go on their
Yep.
channel and tell them that.
You guys associated with them, in my opinion.
I'm
Well,
just saying.
anywhere it go, man. Listen, man. We all gonna rock. We got the fight. We can talk about it. Everything we talking about now is just basically about just rehashing everything, kind of going over kind of backtracking and giving some content. Everything else, man. It shouldn't be no hard feelings about anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Everybody
I agree
should
with that.
just be, yeah. Everybody should just be on the same page at this point. But it's good. It's good to talk about it because this is what makes boxing what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I know
Hey, Mark.
I haven't seen too much of I seen Rick Glazer debate one time. It seemed like he do a pretty good job to me. Very
Yeah,
informative. No shit.
Yeah, that's cool, but
Hey,
I'm just saying
brother
that's
Marty.
cool, but I'm just kidding. That's cool if he a good debater. I'm just saying your man, JJ brought him up on my channel. Ain't nobody say nothing about Rick Glacier here. Nobody disrespect that man.
Hey,
People
brother
on my
Marty.
channel.
Can I echo something? And I know JJ wasn't on the panel, and I'm not even sure if COE was on the panel. But a little earlier, I made the comment, and I always think that it's important to kind of refresh this, right? When we're having discussions, and I'm only on the outside looking in, so I could be wrong, JJ, but it's always good to try to remove the emotional aspect from these type of discussions, right? Because when we hinge on those, um, we end up venturing off into an area where we may not want to go, right? And so I'm listening to some of the comments that you're saying. You know, you associate us with those other folks who made some remarks about you and I have never met, so I'm not sure why or how you would even start to associate me with those folks unless there's some type of emotional involvement that you have there. I could be wrong, but if I'm not wrong, I always try to encourage folks to try to remove the emotional aspect of it in these type of forums. There's a time for it, but I don't know if this is the place and the forum for it. And just try to more so stick to the points and the reality and the facts. And so the fact is, nobody on this panel has said anything derogatory about Terrence Bud Crawford. So if you feel that, you know, they have, we can talk about that, but we also have to, we can't dismiss the reality, which is the reality is no one has done that. Right. So for you to say that you're going to associate that us with those other folks, we all the same, to me, that start pointing in the direction that there may be some emotional investment or involvement. And that's unfair, right? Because we can't, none of us here on that panel can do too much about that. And so that's all I wanted to say, Brother Martin.
I get what you say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's that.
I wanted to rebut my guy in the corner, bottom right hand corner. He was talking about you know, boxers fighting, and you know, like Pacquiao, 8-time world champion, they kind of lost their hunger. And to me, with Bud Crawford, I don't feel like he has lost that hunger. I think he's hungrier than ever, you know, at this point. Because look, he come from 135. He went to 140. Okay. Now he at 147. He already done looked past 147, talking about going to 154. So it's unfinished business with him. So I think he's hungry for that undisputed, man, that 2-time undisputed. That's
A
hungry.
a
Okay, this is
COE.
all I want to say to that though, man. Is that's almost, and I'm saying almost the same thing Tommy Hearns did before he fought Hagler. And I mean, Tommy Hearns was faster than Hagler. He had better foot movement than Hagler. Okay, no problem. He was a more one-punch knockout artist than Hagler was. Just like Crawford is more of a better one-punch stunner / knockout artist than Spence is. Spence is more of a wear and tear you down. And I mean, look how much history Hearns made. He was, I think, the first 4 division and the first 5 division world champion. Terrence Crawford has reached his history already as far as 4-belt holder. But I mean, Hagler was the more solid middleweight, but in this case, Earl's the most solid welterweight. And has Terrence fought better solid true champions? To me, in my honest opinion, no. He's not fought in better solid. What I mean by true champion is a champion like a Evander Holyfield. He got knocked down, but he bounced right back and kept making history, kept fighting the best. You know, that's a true champion. Ever since Jeff Horn lost, we ain't heard nothing from him. All them guys that Terrence has beat, we barely hear anything from them right now. But the ones that so that's what I mean by Terrence doesn't seem to be as hungry, because I mean, he's already beaten the best, and it's like, okay, he's talking. Okay, we finally see action, but it's just like now. Terrence said, well, show me the book, show me the numbers. Dude, the fight ain't happy yet. So there is no numbers for us to show you right now. Like, none of us can say what the next step is.
So
Now,
what
if
you
he
think?
loses,
So what you think is more harder? Well, I mean, not hard, but what you think is more difficult? Coming from 2 weight classes down, or staying in your same weight class, trying to become undisputed in that 1 weight class, or coming from 2 weight classes down, trying to become undisputed in 2 weight classes. Which one you think is more harder? I mean, more difficult.
Okay, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. But watch this.
No,
Watch
no,
this.
no.
Watch
I'm
this.
asking, no. See,
yeah,
see,
watch this.
hold up,
No, watch
hold
this.
up. No, what you think is more difficult?
I'm gonna tell you.
Okay.
Maintaining weight is a lot more difficult than gaining weight. Because look at Roberto Duran. He gained and struggled weight at lightweight and had to leave. That's why he was so vulnerable for the Sugar Ray Leonard rematch. So maintaining weight is because Earl walks around about 186 pounds or 80 pounds. I'm gonna say that 180, and look where he fights at. So it's a lot. That's why he said I can't stay here much longer, because keeping that weight off, coming down, is a lot more difficult than putting weight on, putting muscle on to come up. Oh, trust and believe that. Again, I used to be an amateur boxer. I had to lose 12 pounds in 2 weeks one time.
I understand all
That's
that.
a lot.
I understand all that. I understand all that.
Losing weight takes a lot more out of you than gaining weight.
So what you're saying is, after all that, you're saying staying in the same weight is harder than coming from 2 weight classes down.
Yes.
Coming all the way up to your 3rd weight class, trying to become undisputed in that weight class. That's harder than staying in the same weight class, is what you're saying.
For everybody's body is different. But in his case, Crawford walks around maybe what? One.
Is that a yes or no, man?
60.
Yes or no?
So what?
Is it a yes or no question?
Do I think it's easier? I think it's harder for Earl to lose weight, yeah, than it is for Bud to move up.
In the same weight class. So staying in the same weight class is harder than coming from 135, fighting your way up, trying to keep the same power, right? Trying to keep the same power all the way up through 3 weight classes. That's harder than staying in the weight class. Okay. I mean, I just wanted to see where your logic was. In
this case, yeah. In this case, I mean, it's always been easier for fighters to move up. But I mean, of course, they're going to lose something. Of course, you're going to lose speed, power, maybe chin. Of course, you're going to lose something. We just don't know what it is yet. Right. And like I said, every fighter is different. Shane Mosley moved up, 2 weight classes? No problem. Every fighter is different. So it depends on who you are. You can't say it's the same for every fighter, because it's not. Roy Jones moving up, Roy Jones coming down was not the same.
And also you got to factor age in the equation as well. So while you're saying that Crawford, so while you're saying that Crawford is moving up in weight and weight and weight, and Errol Spence is staying at the weight, trying to continue to maintain it, he's getting older and older and older, and his metabolism is not the same. So you got to factor all of that in. Let me get these 2 super chats, because they were sitting here for a minute, and I wanted to ask a quick question real quick. Terrell Barnes, thank you for your support and contribution to the channel. Terrell says, and Bomax said it before Errol. More importantly, I don't know why no one ever mentions when the WBC ordered Crawford to fight Spence after the Porter fight and Bud turned it down. Then we have Rod 870. Thank you for your contribution again. Rod gave me a super chat. Rod gave me a cash app earlier, and I did acknowledge it. And he actually was on the panel briefly. And I thank you again, Rod, for your contribution and support. This time again to the channel. Not enough money 2017 to 2019 to split between 2 networks. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I don't think I got this one. If I didn't, I apologize. Let me get it now. Jay Cooley, thank you for your contribution and your support to the channel again. And Jay Cooley says, Bud fans call Errol a drunk and so more stuff he did. Duck. He is a duck. I'm calling him a duck until now. I do want to say something, because JJ, real quick. Your name Gary, JJ?
What's that?
Is your name Gary?
I go by G-Man.
What's wrong with these guys not answering my question? But is your name Gary, though?
No, I go by G-Man.
Okay, so your name is Gary, but you just go by G-Man.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. But right, but you just told me no, but it's really yes. Okay, no problem.
I just go by G-Man.
I got you. But the reason I'm asking you that, even though you just lied and said no, Your voice sounds familiar. You were on my panel before. Remember? Back in February, I was out in
Yeah,
Atlanta,
I
Georgia.
was.
You was on my panel.
I was, yeah.
I recognized your voice tonight, and you challenged me to a debate. You personally did. That was you. Did you, Gary? Right?
I mean, I don't recall. I
Well,
don't
you know,
mind
this is
debating you.
the Roll the Tape podcast. Don't make me roll the tape on you, Gary.
You might have to roll the tape on me, like you did on Blue Blood.
Why you bringing blue? I see what you. Yeah, you trying to start something, bro. All right, go ahead with you, man. Give me your last words real quick, JG, before you go off, man.
Hey, I appreciate Manager Marty. I appreciate your time, Rachel. You guys know your boxing for sure. I didn't say you guys don't know your boxing. In my personal opinion, I just think you guys have associated yourself with a certain group of people on YouTube and in terms of boxing, and maybe that this proportionates your view. If I said that word correctly, it just changes your view a little bit. That's just my opinion, personal opinion.
All right, I got you, JJ. I appreciate you coming. Before you leave, hold on, JJ. I got somebody want to ask you something. Hey, Crown Jewel, what's up, baby boy?
What's good, man? I'm apologize up front. I'm somewhere with a shaky signal. I'm out in the desert in California, Indio, California. Y'all know I got a surprise for you tonight. I'm with Anthony Young, who's gonna be taking on Alexis Rocha for the NABO welterweight title tomorrow night.
Say no more. Before you show us to him, this guy JJ, he's on here. You want to? I know you was listening in the background. He's about to get off. You got some encouraging words for this brother, Crown Jewel?
I caught the tail end of it. What is it he was saying?
He was go ahead, JJ. Tell him what you were
I
saying
heard
about the ducking Crawford.
they about debating you or something crazy.
I said that everybody that called Bud a duck and called him names, they owe that man an apology. Not just him. They owe Bomac, his camp, Omaha, Nebraska. You guys owe him an apology. That's what I said.
You couldn't be more wrong. You can't duck a man for years, literally years. Negotiate with him, take another fight for less money on a BS network, lie about your purse, negotiate with him while you negotiate with somebody else. And just because you come back and make it right 3 years later, don't mean you didn't duck for the past 3 years. He just got backed into a corner. He tried to go around him, realized he couldn't make no money without him, and had to backtrack. So I don't owe nobody an apology. I called it like I seen it. He ducked for years. He got to a point where he didn't have a choice, so he had to make the fight. Now the fight's coming, and all I can say is we know how Earl get down. Broken orbital bones, broken jaws, broken ribs.
Hey, we know how Bud get down too. We know how Bud get down too. Get ready for some fried fish.
Get ready for what?
Some fried fish.
Get ready for some fried fish after that.
Hey,
after
Jay,
that fight.
hey, Jay, I'm gonna bring the
going to that
coleslaw
after
and
party.
beans.
Hey, Marty, can I say something real quick, Marty?
I'm gonna bring the coleslaw and beans, Jay.
Well, Jay, like the only thing that I have to say about like what you said earlier is, you know, you got to understand also too, we're all grown ass adults here, at least as much as I think we are grown ass adults. So if one of our you know, quote unquote people or the panels we go up to or support or don't support and we still have our conversations, all of us have our own opinion. So you can't group everyone together at any point. And I don't think that you would think that if we stereotype your quote unquote group in any sort of the word in society, you would feel like you would feel justified as well. So that's my only take.
Well, I got $500 bet that on a knockout, so I'm going for Bud. So got that.
Oh, me too. We're going for
I take that bet.
Knockout.
I take that bet.
Yeah. Oh, I already got one in, so you know you missed that bet.
Oh, I thought you was throwing it on different.
Oh no.
My bad. Okay. All right.
I ain't paid up like that, man. I ain't got paper like that. I got 500 on the bet there for the knockout. So
how about you, JJ? JJ?
Yeah.
How about you? I thought I heard you say that you also had that.
I'm betting about 400 or 500 as well, and I'll take anybody's bet on this panel too. I got Crawford by knockout.
And I'm saying I take that bet, but
Devastating knockout.
but
Let's do it.
I'm a man of my word though.
Let's put our money. Let's put our money. Let's put our money in an escrow or something.
So what we can do
You
is,
got
I
DraftKings.
nah. What
Send
we
the
can do
cash
is,
app. Send the
Brother
cash app.
Marty, if I hate to put you on the spot, I can send that to him tonight. If you up to doing it, JJ,
Send that to who tonight?
I can send it to Marty, and Marty he can hold it, and then whoever wins after the fight, he can disperse it to whoever.
Nah, I don't trust Marty to hold that money.
Well, okay,
Hey, no
okay.
disrespect to Manager Marty.
I'm gonna keep
No
it. I'm gonna
disrespect.
keep it 100. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Anybody that cash at me is a donation to the channel, and so don't don't don't, don't involve Manager Marty in y'all betting, brother. Y'all donate to y'all spend money. Y'all send money to me. That's donating to the channel, brothers, and I appreciate your contribution now. Listen, I want to get everybody's last words real quick. I know it's 3.5 hours. It's 11 o'clock, 11:20 on the East Coast where I'm at. I got to get up very early in the morning. I don't want to hold anybody else. JJ, I know you gave your last words. So you're going COE. Last words, 30 seconds. What you got for us, buddy?
Man, last words, man. I am so happy that this fight is about to happen. It seems like this the best year of boxing to me. I know everybody out here kind of, getting geared up to get to the fight, going to watch the fight. Man, I'm just loving what boxing is bringing right now. Everybody, man, be safe, be positive, respect one another, man, and just let's get ready for this epic fight. Appreciate it.
Oh, I'm back in.
You got it. Crown Jewel, stay right there, Crown Jewel. Don't leave. Blackskin
I
Bruce is
got you.
on you. 30 seconds. Give us your last words, brother.
Well, I appreciate you having on the show, Manager Marty. One thing about all these Terrence Bud Crawford fans, go ahead and get rid of your haterade for Earl Spence, man. But after what he does to him, I feel that fight is this fight is going to be mentioned in the era and prior times of Sugar Ray and possibly even the James Toney era, man. I mean, not era, but talk shows at barbershops, and hopefully the fight does take place. Hopefully, by the time Earl gets in the ring, he takes care of business, and by the time Terrence Crawford gets in the ring, hopefully he ain't like that guy who got in and just ran and walked out right away, man. Like I said, I ain't gonna believe it till I see it. But this fight, man, is I just hope that whatever takes place, I don't care who wins. Earl got my vote, but man, in a way, I can't wait for it, man, because it's definitely gonna be worth it. This for sure ain't gonna be no Pacquiao Mayweather fight. I do know that because you got two dogs, one bulldog, one Rockwaller, getting ready to go at it, man. Can't
You
wait,
got it.
can't wait.
Thanks again, Blackskin Bruce. You know you're more than welcome anytime, brother. Who we
Peace,
got
bro.
up there in the corner? My guy, DC Jeroy. 30 seconds, man. Give us your last words, champ.
Absolutely. I always appreciate the platform, Marty. I appreciate your panel, how respectful everybody is. I think 2023 is one of the more exciting years for boxing. We've had some really, really good fights and cards. Got a really exciting one coming up, and it looks like we're going to keep that momentum going throughout the rest of the year. So 2023 is a good year for boxing for me, and I'm very appreciative. In closing, I got Spence. And for the reasons that I stated earlier, I'll put the physical aspect of it. And also, I think I'm even going to go as far as to say that I have a couple of bets out there. And I got Spence winning by stoppage by 10th, 11th round.
Oh, you got it, DC. Thank you for joining the panel. As always, anytime, you like family, you come on in
My
anytime.
man.
DC.
My
My
man.
guy,
Appreciate you, brother.
you got it. Rach, we like family. I know at the end, JJ came in here trying to start some drama, but you know how we do. Rach, give us your last words. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for, just joining the panel and just giving us education as always. And I know that it's probably like 11 o'clock in the morning over there in the Philippines. Give us your last words,
Yeah.
Rach.
No, of course, always. Thanks for having me on. I'm glad I woke up a little earlier today to catch you because usually I'm on the tail end of your stuff. Always just keep doing what you're doing, Manager Marty. You're doing great. You don't need me here, but it's always fun to talk to you and chop it up. I miss you guys. Everyone be safe and just be positive and listen to others. Listen more than trying to react with your mouth so much and stop taking things so personal. All of us don't really have a personal vested interest in this fight. It's entertainment for all of us. So let's keep it entertained. Let's keep it fun. Let's keep it respectful. And until next time, y'all take care. Sorry, my son. Talk to you later. Bye.
All right, Rach, tell Nonita we said hello. Crown Jewel, I know you got a big task on your hand out there. You family. You got my full support. Juice got my full support. We looking for him to defeat Rocher tomorrow night. You're gonna box his head off. I know what you're gonna come to do. I just want you to get a small little plug. That's why I saved you for last. Because I know we got people watching us live in living color right here on the Roll the Tape podcast with Manager Marty. My guy, Crown Jewels in your corner. I already know you coming home with the win, brother. I think your mic, Crown Jewel, your mic, Crown. There you go.
My bad.
I said, you know, I ain't coming to play, I'm coming to fight. It's a fight. He got somebody real in front of him, somebody that's gonna make him pay for his mistakes, and that's what I plan to do. I'm coming home with that belt. I ain't take a 5 hours and my girl, my kids for nothing. So he gonna have to pay.
That was Mr. Young. He's fighting Alexis Rocha tomorrow night. My guy, Crown Jewels in his corner. We having some technical difficulties. You all sound like you were up and down. Can you all hear me?
We're back. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Juice. Speak up in the mic, Juice.
I said I ain't coming to lay down. I ain't with the script. I'm coming to win. I said I ain't take a 5 hour, almost 6 hour flight away from my mom, my brothers and sisters, my girl, and my kids. You know what I mean? For nothing. You bringing that WBO belt home.
Absolutely.
All right, Manager Marty, you know how I give it up, baby. And I will say, with all due respect to Rachel Donaire, we do have a vested interest, me and him, in that Crawford Spence fight. You know why? Because we're
Hey, Crown, you going in and out, Crown? Crown, you going?
Yeah, bad. We don't have a great signal. But like I said, yeah. Alexis Rocha, Terrence Crawford's mandatory, and we coming to snatch that away from him. So we have a little more interest in that Crawford Spence fight than everybody else because we knocking on the door. We a real threat. Like Juice said, we didn't come here to lay down. We had a great camp. Shout out to TKO and Cherry Hill. Shout out to Chemo and Justin was the sparring partners. Shout out to Paul Crow, another sparring partner.
Paul Crow, my guy from Philly. Paul Crow.
Yeah, he's sparring too. He's fighting them all night too. Best Paul. FTB Management, Hard Hitting Promotions, Coach Fred, Pleasant. We coming. I mean, we out here to make a statement. We did not come to the West Coast to play games. We out here with Tornado. We come to up and leave. That's what we here for.
Hey, absolutely. Crown, make sure when the fight's over, y'all get that win. I look forward to seeing a text or a phone call from you, brother, so we can all congratulate you here back home, brother.
Absolutely. You know, you be the first call, bro.
You got it.
Appreciate
good luck.
You
God bless you guys. Hey, good luck, Juice. We're looking forward to seeing you come home with the Titans, brother. Yeah, I think their signal was fading a little bit. I appreciate you all. We 3.5 hours in, you all came and kicked it with me. If you're watching the replay of this live, I thank you for your viewership as well. Everybody that engaged in the chat, thank you. I would salute you all. Everybody that joined the panel, I salute you all. Tune in live and live in color. on Tuesday evening, right here on the Roll the Tape podcast with Manager Marty. We will be back live in living color. I hope and pray that all of you have a blessed weekend. Have a great holiday. And don't eat all the fried chicken. Don't eat all the grilled chicken. Don't eat all the hot dogs. Save Manager Marty some. I look forward to seeing you all back again on this Tuesday evening. And we're going to talk some more Spence and Crawford. We got some other boxing to talk about. But the question on the floor tonight, anywhere you are in the world, say it to yourself, because we're going to replay it and bring this all the way back again. Or as they say, spin the block. Who wins this fight between Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Bud Crawford? If they fight on July the 29th, I'm Manager Marty. I will see you all, God willing, this Tuesday evening.